Rich Cuts presents a Black Pearl Productions. Monumental.
Black Boom. Muddy Waters.
First time? Oh, went on like an hour and a half.
I don't know what y'all gonna do.
That's why I'm asking if you have another format.
We record.
Alright, so, alright, well, here we are. So, we're gonna start it off with shouting out to all the researchers, right? Because we living in a time, man, where got a lot of shit going on. The whole the bug and all that, all this crazy shit. Whatever the results of that, planning to be and all that, all this shit going on with the world and the economy and all that. And at the same time, here in America, we got some, truth being revealed, and with that being said, we have a researcher here. Y'all might know him. You know what I'm saying? P and R. He don't like that name, but that's what we going with. His is legit though. It ain't the other crazy. You know what I'm saying? He's a researcher, man. And
we all should be.
We all should be. But that's the whole thing. Like, not following the wave, actually doing the work. And this is a whole different kind of work. This ain't like digging up dinosaur bones and shit or whatever that is. This is like shit that means something to the world. Like, shit is being revealed by a lot of people, man. Different spots, whatever the case is. So they seem to be telling a parallel story though, a story that's hidden but is there, and the true researchers is finding the same shit
At the same time.
Stars align, right?
So independent, man, like not even working with each other, but the information is the information, the truth is the truth, whatever the case is. So, with that being said, welcome.
Appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? Appreciate
Glad
you
to be
coming
here.
back through.
Thank you.
Time to finish what I started. It's a beautiful feeling to know I put my heart in. I'm all in. Picking up the broken pieces. I done had my share of lessons and no life a teacher. This beat be talking to my soul like it was a preacher. This for them late nights on the road, so turn up your speaker flow, call, turn up the heater. Bet on me, go all in. If I try and I fail, I'ma try it again. I won't stop until I win. Time to finish what I started. It's a beautiful feeling to know I put my heart in. I'm all in. Everything I wanna know, I'm really about to have it to it.
Man, I'm just gonna go ahead and get right to it. Ask the first question. And which I think everybody should ask themselves this question. Who's interested in knowing the truth? How important is genealogy to today's Black Americans, and why? First, let everybody know what genealogy is.
Okay. I guess the simplest way to say it, genealogy is a study or research of your family, your bloodline, from your parents, grandparents, all the way as far back as you could go. The people that made you, that's pretty much what genealogy is. And you're doing this research through government documents, birth certificates, marriage certificates, adoption records, if that was the case for an individual, military records, old Bible records. A lot of our elders kept records in Bibles back in the 1900s. Churches, if you have family churches, we tend to house our records like that back then because we didn't trust like a lot of things. Bank records, if you have them, like old bank records, like There was a lot of black banks, quote unquote black banks, back in the days, Freedmen's Records. But it always starts, and I tell everybody this, if you are able to talk to an elder in your family, it starts there. And then you take what they telling you and go. If you're blessed to do that, if you're not blessed to be able to talk with your elders in your family, then you go off with names that you might remember. And there's a lot of free ways to do it. You could start by going to sites like familysearch.org. It's a free site. They house a lot of birth and death certificates, marriage records, census records from deceased people. You could start there. You could go to your local courthouse if you are in this, the town or state that your family might be from. But those things house important documents because they have classifications on there that would say what your ancestor was classified as, and that doesn't necessarily mean their bloodline, but in time you see how classifications change for a certain type of people. So like today they will call us black or African American. It wasn't that 25 years ago or 30 years ago. It changes. So as you comb through the layers in time, you'll start to see that the names of your family were changed. You might see like mulatto, Indian, Negro, colored, stuff like that. Or if they from somewhere else, sometimes it'll show that on it. So that's why it's important to first know what type of people you come from. Because a lot of us, we just run around doing things. We don't really know who we are as a people. Every personality trait you got from somebody else. If it wasn't your direct parents, it could have been a great grandparent from down the line. So that's why it's important, so you can know the issues that you deal with personally. You see, well, you wasn't the only one that had that. It make you feel like you're not in this alone. Oh, my great such and such dealt with this issue, like a physical issue or a mental issue or whatever the case it is. And black people, we go by a lot of things, but we don't embrace what make us who we are. And we embrace these titles people giving us instead of seeing what our ancestors, who they were. And then when you see who they were, that associates with land and all these other things. And I'm not sure how deep we're going to go in that, but knowing who you are is important.
We need to go deep.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm with it. But that's in a nutshell, hopefully explains why genealogy is important. So if you have kids or grandchildren one day or great-grands, and you blessed to see them and they ask you about you want to be able to tell them, well, we are this. Our family is this. It's a sense of pride because black people, we are prideful people, whether we rep in our hood, our gang, our team, our job, our church. Black people rep. Freaks. Whenever we rep it hard. The fraternities, we rep hard. That's all cool, but it's better to know who you are. Rep that first, because that's what will make you first and foremost. Hopefully that makes sense.
So what? Do you think that whole Greek thing that's why that's there?
What do you mean Greek thing? What do you mean? Like fraternities?
Yeah, I never really got it. Like, okay, it's, it's cool, but
Well, I'll say this: our people are very good at hiding things, and in those fraternities, you see a lot of culture embedded in those different fraternities. A lot of what we would call indigenous things or American Indian. There's a lot of that hidden in there. There's a form of us to keep doing what we're doing, but we had to hide certain aspects of our culture, So that's why it's important to even learn what they're doing in there, because we always have this. We've been taught like this stuff is some Illuminati's this, and we got to get past that. Like, I feel like if people still saying that, they're not digging in their research far enough, because everybody want to say something's Illuminati when they just seen that like somebody on YouTube regurgitated, or maybe a a religious speaker might have said it without full understanding of it. When you dig in deep, you see that the roots of whatever is going on, you'll see some indigenous in it. And I'm not saying every aspect of a fraternity, but I'm saying a lot of things are hidden ancient practices. And a lot of things we tend to do is something that's ancient. If we don't understand it, we just say that's the devil or that's the Illuminati. That's, first of all, we're scared to do the research, and it's convenient. Oh, and Hollywood makes a lot of things look bad. That could have been something that was a culture in your family. Say that again.
How, you know, we go back, you know, to that whole culture thing. Like, Illuminati, that's white people shit. White people say Illuminati. Like, that ain't even our shit, but we adopted.
Well, even with that term,
shit, just we adopt some shit that these motherfuckers start doing or do. You know,
I agree.
We the villain in their story, but somehow we still adopt it.
Yeah, because it's convenient.
A lot of it is convenient. So,
but Illuminati, if that's the case, me and you are Illuminati, because that means illuminated. We enlightened. So call me that all day. I'll take that. So just that alone, like I tell people, research what the word means. What does that mean? You quick to call somebody Illuminati, or call me that. I'll take that. I want to be looking illuminated in someone else's eyes.
Yeah, people don't even know what it is.
Yeah, so
it's just some shit.
That's just my take on that.
Some comic book shit.
Yeah, comic
superhero shit.
Yeah.
Dr. Evil and Black Violence.
And even in that is hidden things of our ancient practices and cultures that they will put in a comic book to make it seem fairy tale-ish or mythical, you know?
So what's to be said about, like, okay, we going, it all, you know, it's all founded in the original discussion about what he asked about.
Genealogy.
Yeah, who we are. Why is genealogy not just important, but why is it especially important to us? So it's like, oh shit, just that by itself, man. Why is it especially important to us, genealogy?
Well, aside from what I just said, I mean, a lot of us have this narrative that we are lost people or stolen from a place, you know, far off. So we don't have attachment to nothing. And usually when we do attach something to something very small scale, like I said, a neighborhood, a city, a block, you know. But in genealogy, when you see that you come from a certain people, that's a nation. You know, that's not saying like, and shout out to any African American out here, and I mean a real African American, somebody from Africa living in America. That's cool because we have plenty of them here. But a lot of us, that's not our story. So it's hard to embrace a place that they tell us is homeland when we know nothing about, and we don't know our homeland be around the corner or where grandma and them from. That be your homeland for real, for real. So when you understand that, then you study the place where your family from. Then you study the place. Then you see, oh, I didn't know our family had acres of land with cotton growing on it, or gold, or granite, or something, a commodity. Then you like, oh, so we wasn't poor people at one time. It's a trickling effect because a lot of us are poor-minded and poor in the pockets today. So we one-track minded on how to take care of ourselves day to day when we don't know we come from a family who was probably running a whole commodity from state to state or overseas 200 years ago or 150 years ago. You know, that's why that's important. That we are lost people, not because we lost from a homeland we don't know overseas. We lost on our own land, we don't know it.
So how that translate to spiritual? Like
all that ties together. The thing about the spirit,
you know, going back to the whole why is it especially important to us?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
That's where the history part come in because, you know, everybody is tied to what they believe and they like, you can't tell me nothing no different. until you find comb through there and you see like maybe the religion you've been embracing for 30, 40 years came forced on a people you come from. That right there for me should be an eye opener. Like, I love this religion today, but I didn't know that they forced my grandparents' parents off their land if they didn't embrace that religion. So that is one aspect of it. The other aspect is people could be living on your family land, benefiting off your shit that your grandparents or great grands was cultivating on a regular basis, and you don't even know it because the family could have lost the land through some bad paperwork, you know. Because when you from a particular place, the land is tied to it. Then when the land is tied to it, it's a certain spiritual practice that's tied to it. Because in the spiritual realm, nature goes hand in hand with that. So I'll give an example of if you were sick back in the day, maybe some of us might have heard grandma, grandpa, or uncle say put some socks in the bottom of your, put some onions peel in your sock and go to sleep at night, and the sock will draw out the sickness. You know, you'll be good in a day or two. That is a medical practice, which will also be today a pharmaceutical practice, which will be spiritual. So using something natural to heal the body, something that the Creator has given us. So that's spiritual in itself, just like when you grow a vegetable or a fruit, that is a spiritual thing. You're using something that the Creator has given you to feed yourself, to heal yourself, because in nature is supposed to be healing, spiritual and physical. So that ties together. When you know who your family is, you know what type of culture they came from, what type of land, then the practices to maintain the land, to maintain the crop is different. And maybe even the deities that were called upon, I'll say that, were called upon might not be what you've been doing the last 20, 30, 40 years of your life. Or even what you even seen grandma doing. Grandma's doing this one deity, but when she's sick or a grandchild sick, then she's not calling on that deity. She's doing an old practice that she knew that ain't had nothing to do with the deity that she might call on at her religious gatherings every week. So it make you kind of think, well, why grandma ain't pray for me in that way? She told me to do this natural thing, you know? And being that we are melanated people, we're supposed to be natural people anyway. So when you walking in that light, the spirituality part ties with that. Hopefully that makes sense.
So, like, you know, I'm reminded of that picture, man, about the farmers, man, with all the farms and all the acres and all the millions of dollars that those farms was worth.
Oh yeah, the pictures back in the day when it said farmers lost millions of acres of land. Those pictures.
That one picture.
You see where they got the black guy, all the black people holding signs saying Negroes lost all the farmland. Okay, right. Yeah.
So it's like
that's like the 1930s, 40s, 50s, that time. Yeah.
So it's like,
which was wars going on at that time too.
We can't see that kind of. We can't see that. I can't see that.
You can't see what?
In today's world, today's country, America, whatever.
Well, at that time they were still fighting for it. They knew what they had.
Yeah, but my
we
point
didn't
is,
know we had it. We are
how
damage
far
is done.
How far? Like, what would it take? Like, what's the value in a nigga owning a farm, all that work and shit?
What's the value?
Yeah, all that work and dealing with fertilizer and shit. Like,
see, that's one aspect of it. But everybody didn't have farms. Some people could have just had a bunch of land with a mountain on it that had, like, let's say, spring water. Don't we pay for water? And you own the land that produced that commodity. You might not have to do shit to it. You can pay for people to come get water off your land. Just like all the spring water we drink and it has a label on it, somebody is paying somebody that owned that mineral right to get that.
So we was having a conversation earlier about how I say you know, niggas feel how they want to feel about it. But I say it's by design. Niggas don't know how to do shit no more.
I agree.
Not only do niggas not know how to do shit no more, niggas have an attitude of fuck knowing how to do shit.
I agree.
So, wow. To go from, I'm a farmer nigga, we own all this motherfucking land and they stealing our shit, to fuck knowing how to do shit. How we gonna get that kind of mentality back? Going with the question about the farmers, back to the genealogy, who we are, what it was before, you know, and what it is now, with the whole, you know, multinational companies running most of the, you know, GMO, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like, oh, I'm sorry.
And the economy, where the economy is at.
I'm gonna try to simplify what I feel like he's saying. Explain an atrocity that you may know of, or many as you want, atrocity that you may know of that.
And don't be, you ain't simplifying that.
That genealogy could, you know what I'm saying? Okay. That genealogy could bring you to the light of that atrocity. You see what I'm saying? Basically, how does the information from genealogy differ from modern day information?
Okay, I'll use two. So earlier this year, there's a beach in Los Angeles called Bruce Beach, Los Angeles County, right? So that the Bruce Beach is named after Bruce family. A husband and wife purchased this beach way in the 1900s for like $1,000, somewhere around the $1,000 mark, right? A beach, like an actual whole beach, their beach, they wound up, the county, Los Angeles County, wound up illegally seizing the beach from this family like 90 something years ago. So this family lost the beach up until recently. I think it was, I want to say early 2022 or maybe late last year, the county gave the beach back to the family. The part of the significance of it is it wasn't just any old beach. This is like a beach with big name hotels on it. It's a resort. Like they have millions and millions of real estate built on this beach. This family didn't build it because they lost it, but in the records, because they seen that beach was rightfully belonging to this family, the county had to give it back. So they gave the beach back to the people. This was on the local news out there. I think it made national news, but people ain't paying attention. They was paying attention to all the other things.
A few people spoke.
They had to give it back with no problem. Once the family proved that was their ancestors' beach, I think at that time the value of real estate on it was something like 74 million. It's up there, 70 something million. They gave the beach back, but they're still fighting for all that value from the time they bought it.
Yeah.
The residual. There you go. That's life-changing money for that family. So, but it took damn near 100 years, right? That's one incident. The reason why they got it back, because they proved through genealogy, that's my grandma and granddaddy stuff, that these white people and all them were mad. Like, they go to this place with their kids spending all this money, and they know it's some niggas owned it, you know. And y'all gotta realize the county, Los Angeles County, gave it back to them. Not no little rinky-dink little real estate transaction with a little Joe Schmo. We talking about the county had to give that back because the county illegally took that from them. They wouldn't have known that's their family unless somebody didn't know the genealogy. That's just one case. But let's use one most people probably do know. Most people know Tulsa riots. So I'll talk a little bit about it, but most of us know Tulsa. They bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. They bombed all these black businesses, homes, killed like thousands of Negroes that live there. But people don't know we get oil out of Oklahoma. There was black people on oil fields at that time. And you had poor whites struggling. Mind you, this is right before the Great Depression. So you have poor whites, then you have all these luxurious black people having hospitals, movie theaters, lawyer offices, banks. When you have banks, what do you back the money up with? Commodities. Oil comes out of there. Probably other things too, but we get oil from Oklahoma. People don't be knowing that. We think our oil be coming from overseas a lot, but we have a lot of oil that comes through the United States, which don't even make sense why we go elsewhere. Or is that just what they tell us? But okay, so you got all these poor whites, they mad. The army came through along with some local militias, and they came through and started killing these black people and burning their businesses, burning their money makers, setting torches and bombs to their shit. You know? So now we have 100 years later, 3 survivors from that's in their hundreds fighting to get reparations for what happened to their parents, because these people were kids when this happened. So they parents and grandparents, they seen these fires and things. They still surviving. I think it's 3 left, the last 3. This court case been going on for years. But this year, because they very old and we don't know how long they're going to be with us, the Supreme Court ruled that they're going to go ahead and push this. But they're going against the state. They're going against like the military for Oklahoma. Like, they're suing big figures, and they have substantial evidence, unclaimed insurances that kept getting denied from these families' descendants, all type of stuff that could probably mean in the billions of dollars.
Life insurance and shit.
Life insurance.
They didn't want to pay.
Just like with the beach, they got to pay for the like he said, the what was the word you used? The residual. So the value has grown all these years. So they want that. They want everything. That can probably put a municipality out of business. That's why that's big. That's why it's important. But they suing for reparations, and that's a term that black people always been hearing when we associate with slavery. But these people are suing for something that happened to their ancestors on land in America, of land that they owned. It's hard to own a whole city coming straight out of slavery. Like, that seems kind of impossible to do. Mind you, they didn't know how to read and write, but they had schools, hospitals, law firms, banks, but these people couldn't read and write. So you wouldn't know that stuff if you ain't knew where your family came from. It wouldn't be important to you, because everybody from somewhere in Africa, you wouldn't care to fight for something 100 years ago. Like, you've been fighting this fight for 70 years, you 104 years old, still fighting this fight, because they knew who they were. Those would be our grandparents or great-grandparents. So those are 2 situations to hopefully show why genealogy is important, so you could fight for something your family may have lost. And if your family still got it, great, but maybe they're not using it to the best of their abilities to break some poverty cycles that run in your family. That's why genealogy is important, because the land is the wealth.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Hopefully that was pretty good.
So, how far?
It's a pretty direct line, nigga.
How far back, though?
Trail tales and shit. Oklahoma.
Go in genealogy.
Would you say you would have to go to unravel the misrepresentation of history?
How far back? Okay, well.
That makes sense.
Okay.
That's where they start fucking with the information,
Right?
fucking
Because obviously there is a misrepresentation of some history before.
Well, then start there. Start with what you were taught.
Before certain wars became.
Start there.
What's that?
Like what you just said. Most of our history comes from when we was in school.
Right.
So most black people, we was thinking slavery. So start there. Go through your genealogy and see if you can find a slave boat that somebody came on. That's the best place. Deal with that issue, because we were all given, we slaves. Kill that, or if your family was a slave, were they really from Africa, and why were they a slave? Because even with slavery, we have the one connotation, like they was out there picking cotton or tobacco, and they was getting whipped if they ain't listen. But we don't know that in genealogy. You'll see that slave could have been like Raleigh could be my granddaddy, and I'm his grandson. And when the census people come through and taking how many people live in a house, Grandpa Ralik is teaching me how to cultivate these walnut trees, because that's what he has growing on his land. He's teaching me how to do it, so I'm like an apprentice to Grandpa. Slave means employee. So when the curator, the enumerator, whatever they call when people come through, yeah, this is the
census and shit.
Slave or employee. I might also be his grandson. But those words, we have one meaning of the word. That's why I tell people, look up what words mean. Because most of us have jobs. You're a slave to their job because you're an employee. Slave has such a bad connotation, and I understand why, but it's not the roots version with everybody. Now, some of us do have slaves in the family.
You hired your own son.
You hired your own, yes, to make sure.
For tax purposes.
For tax, exactly. We were business people. You got to understand that. They told us we couldn't read and write, but we knew how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So when you going through these genealogy records, and the first thing somebody might see is in let's say I'm gonna just make up a number, 1850, because you know the census is every 10 years. So 1850, great granddaddy had real estate worth $2,000. How he do that in 1850? Slavery going on. So then it's like, so maybe my granddaddy was a white man and had a baby with a black woman, because we always try to find an excuse to make that narrative fit us, and a lot of times it don't. The other side of it, somebody could have been a slave in your family, but maybe they was a prisoner of war, or they was working for somebody because maybe they had to pay off a debt. So it could be, okay, me and you got some debt that I owe you. My son could work with you for 7 years. That'll help me pay off the debt, because I don't have the means to pay you that, let's say $50,000 right now. My son will work that off for you. So when a curator come through, or enumerator, whatever the term is, and that person is in their household working, they might put him down as a slave. But also with the slavery thing, it has to be a slave manifest, because slavery was a business. So the boat has to be documented with the cargo that was on there. If there was cargo on there, it's going to say it. If there was a commodity, because people were commodities off of that. So you have to find that person that you are related to that came on that boat. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case for your family, because a lot of Indians were slaves, so I don't want to make it seem like we didn't have slavery, but it wasn't the way we was taught, the chattel slavery part, if that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. So how much is, like, the idea of slavery that they promote, that we see when we think of slavery,
why
how
would
much
they
of that
promote
was,
that? Why
that's
would
what I'm
they
saying. How
promote
much of that is an accurate representation?
They say the winners of the war write the stories, right? So when we research, well, I don't say we. When I do my research, when it comes to this whole slavery thing, when I'm working on somebody's genealogy, usually how it goes is somebody will say, my grandma told me we got Indian in our family, but I also sent my records off to a DNA facility, and they said I come from
Nigeria.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Switzerland.
So the narrative that people choose is, oh, well, Africans was mixing with Indians. You know, we try to find things to make those stories fit, but that's where you have to learn the cultures, and you understand what cultures we didn't deal with. When I say we, I don't want to say we. Me and my people back then, we didn't deal with foreigners just coming in mixing with us like that. We might get a bag with you and trade, but you're not about to be coming in and just be sleeping with our women and stuff like that. We'd kill you and dump you in one of these rivers. People don't know that. We just hear Indian and got this one perception that they just so nice. They giving you corn and pumpkins, some old corny Hollywood shit. But a lot of foreigners, they couldn't just come over. It's just like we use today's term. You from the hood, ain't no new nigga just gonna come on your block and just do what he want. He gotta know somebody for one. You gonna quit. Why you over here? And then depending on who you know, the dude that you know, he gotta be valid in that neighborhood. It's that same concept back then. So it wasn't no mixing of and breeds and stuff. We had laws in place for that. Like certain tribes had laws where if you slept with an outsider of the tribe, I don't even want to say Africa because that's another continent. If you outside that tribe, they might banish you. If you made a baby with somebody outside the tribe, let alone a white person. They would kill white people a lot of times. So the mixing things that we try to make stories fit doesn't work. Do your genealogy, because your genealogy might be different. You might be Indian and might not had no slaves in your family. You might have owned slaves, and then the slaves don't mean you was whipping them. They could have been just your workers. Then again, you had white people who came through Ellis Island, who they had to work for when they got here. If Indians owned the land, who they came and worked for, who they came and fought for.
So what's the problem with just telling that story?
Because then that makes them look like the slaves.
It's real simple.
It's real simple. But they have to complicate it. That's why there's so many lies on changing maps. Because when you change the map, then you won't associate.
Oh, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But the fact that's the base of the shit. Like,
but you got to make
whole
everything make
whitewashing
sense
thing,
with that lie.
The whole whitewashing thing is just like that one lie, and then you got to build the whole world around that lie, nigga.
That's how it works with lies, right?
Yeah.
To tell the one little white lie.
So we just in the middle of a big ass lie, and we like, nigga, they lying, and then like, nigga, everybody's like, no, they, I guess, no, they ain't. Like, come on, son.
Then if you tell a lie, you'll never have you go fight for something that's yours right in front of your face. Right. You still saying, shout out to the motherland over there, and
why
shout out to
leave us? Come get me.
Yeah. when your ancestors like, nigga, if you don't turn around and go to the backyard, nigga, that's our shit right here.
Come get me.
Yeah.
Mama.
And then people changing their names and stuff over there and all that. I'm all for that. Cool, if that's what you want to do. But the people you come from, them ancestors, is upset. Your last name is Jackson and you want to get some African name, and Jackson is your name. That's your name. That's you know, it's wealth and spiritual wealth and like prestige and royalty tied to your nigga last name in America, but you so ashamed of it because you think it don't mean nothing because you see your family in their current state like these people ain't shit.
But we gotta acknowledge how it's not just that simple.
It's not that simple.
It's not. It's like leaving out the hood, going to a school where they teach you ain't shit, and white people is everything, and then going back to the hood, nigga. So it don't take long for that shit to pervade, like.
But you gotta understand, even if people, and I don't even want to say the hood. It's just it could be anywhere.
Whatever.
But those people don't know neither. Or for instance, like, how can I say? People could be living in a new city. Their roots could be somewhere in the South, right? They live somewhere. Let's say Detroit, DC. Let's say DC.
Okay, yeah, DC.
Your generation. And maybe your parents' generation, they know DC only, right? They don't. They know the family roots is from the South, but that's country and dirty and boring to them. Yeah. They're not gonna embrace that. They're gonna embrace what's happening where they grew up, DC. So with that being said, you know that makes that kind of waters down. You wanting to know who your family is, because you'd be like, oh, that dumb country shit, I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm from DC. That mindset alone kills that mindset.
It's the same farmer thing.
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
Like, oh, granddaddy had land.
I'm beyond that.
You associate dirty sneakers.
I ain't get no dirt on my kicks.
Exactly.
I ain't get no dirt on my kicks.
Exactly. And that's bad, but that helps make the narrative push easier. Oh, well, shit, they don't even give a shit about they shit back home.
But the convenience factor, man, the comfort factor, all that shit, you gotta have, if you're gonna preach that and push boys and men to be not knowing how to do shit, you have to put an environment around them where they can still feel somehow like a man, even though they not forced to do man things.
I agree.
Remotes like and shit, and you know,
not even the hood. Any
I'm gonna
suburban
just take it to the spot and get the oil change, or I'm gonna call Hector and have him cut the grass, and all these environments where it's like all artificial shit that allow a nigga to still feel like, you know.
Well, to that I don't want. Okay, that statement there, I would say it's some truth to it, because the other side to that is, again, doing your genealogy, you could come from royalty. And we watch royalty on TV. They don't do nothing, right? Don't they delegate?
Yeah.
So you could. I'm not giving an excuse because I want to watch. I don't want it to come off like that. But some people come from royalty where they delegate. They don't. They might not get out there and farm. They might have the people to farm it. So it's two sides to that. Like some people are born entrepreneurs. They got to keep the bag moving. They don't have that
even
time.
The regal types,
you know what I'm saying?
Do the cultural things to stay on top. Even you see in the shit when they fencing and shit, they being riding horses and shit. You know what I'm saying? They got money, but they still forced to do certain things to be like. Being lazy ain't on our itinerary.
That's why I didn't want it to come off as lazy. That's not when you running shit. You
Convenience create laziness.
Lazy isn't running shit. So I didn't want that to come off like that. But I see your point. Yeah. But the other side of it is okay. Like the family that got the beach back. Right. There's mad millions of real estate is built up on there.
Right.
They're gonna have to learn as a family how to
work that shit,
how to work it and delegate.
That's a beautiful thing.
You know what I'm saying?
They
might not be lifting a finger no more.
And the beautiful thing with that is
so it's two sides to that shit.
Like when, like that go back to the times we in where these things is happening. Like, cause you see it, I see it for what it is. See the promise in it. Other niggas see it. Other niggas start digging. Nigga, they got real money from this shit. And they getting real money from this shit.
Like,
you know, like
reparations for real.
For like real money, like niggas screaming reparations. That's the reparations.
That's the
you know what I'm saying?
There
like,
you go right there.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, God damn, I forgot what I was saying.
But then they gotta go. Well, then what does reparations mean? Like I always tell people, look.
Yeah, give niggas the blueprint.
It means compensation of war. So your family lost something in the war, and then you got people fighting for the military, but your family done lost some shit to the military. Go get your reparations. The first, that's not simple. I don't want to make it seem so simple, but that's where genealogy come in at.
It is that simple. It's hard the first few times.
It's not easy.
And then as you lay the blueprint. And other motherfuckers start taking the blueprint and following it because it ain't that complicated.
Was the blueprint, bro. We ain't never seen no shit like that. Just like with that Tulsa shit, we thought that was just an atrocity that America forgot.
And we see the shit in Wilmington.
Them people like, about to get that bag.
Like the shit is documented. They like to hide shit, but the part that's documented about Wilmington and shit.
Oh, Wilmington. Yeah,
they stormed that motherfucker and took all their shit, and nobody paid them for their shit. That's easy. Why the fuck ain't no lawyer taking that?
Yeah.
If somebody just rushing your shit, if the government don't want to claim responsibility, somebody got to be at fault. So those people need to pay. And if they can't find those people, then the government got to pay. That's an easy case, nigga. Why ain't no lawyer taking that case? You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing around the whole country, nigga. And then that leads to the other countries and the whole hemisphere and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
the genealogy shit, you see how.
And then all the truth is revealed, nigga. Like then we see, like, oh, who the fuck is responsible for all this nonsense?
But genealogy puts it puts a lot of food in your plate because maybe not all your family members give a damn, right? That's another side of it. You doing all that and you excited. Nah, that's cool, but
they don't feel like they have a reason to.
Some family might be like,
that's what
whatever.
That's what it boiled down to.
So you have to make sure you want to take that burden.
Okay. Are you interested? I know
what that means.
I know certain things you don't. You know what I'm saying, but would you be interested in kind of documenting, like testifying, testimonial about how you speak? You say what you just said, but you live it, like. How people be apprehensive.
I won't speak on my personal family.
Right. Right.
I won't do that because they might see this, and I don't want to.
Yeah, ain't nobody trying to step on their toes.
What I could speak on as far as me doing someone else's genealogy.
Yeah, how you have to build it before they come, nigga. If you build it, they will come. You say this and say that. It's like, yeah, I had aunts and shit. I remember a few of them. Who the fuck cares? Then when they get the information and shit becomes something. It's like, oh shit.
Well, that's where the spiritual side. I think you have to be in tune. Because when it comes to us, when we hear a bag involved, a lot of people gonna flock. The intent has to be pure, because it's not just getting the bag. Every genealogy is different. You might come across. Let me see, how can I say this? You might come across in your genealogy some land, and then there's a military base on it. Are you willing to fight that beast by yourself because your family like, nah? That's a fight that can navigate outside the courts to are you about that life? Because they might not want to get Atlanta.
Let's look at it like this.
It could go.
Listen,
so
that's cool. It could go all fucked up. Highways and shit, like this
highways built on your shit.
Like my family is buried right here, and the highways right here. Nigga. What's happening? So what's the alternative?
Are we ready for this battle?
So what's the alternative, right?
Depends on the individual.
Like,
everybody, that's what I'm saying.
If you working some bullshit job and getting some bullshit money, and you got enough just to pay the bills,
but
and
you can't leave your family
you got kids to pay
when
for
it's
and
a
shit,
family thing,
and you owe money, and you in debt, and your shit all fucked up. Like fighting the FBI ain't that bad. You know, niggas living with like
fight.
My mother got fucking diabetes and high blood pressure. My pops dying,
bro. I think when
so it's like fuck the FBI, nigga. Let me get what's mine.
Nah, it's if you willing to go that route. Because why the people lost it? Then you do the genealogy and see somebody might get killed because they don't want to leave
niggas
that.
is getting killed. A whole lot of niggas gonna get killed.
All right, so I don't know if I should speak on that. Let me
well, I ain't talking about.
No.
I'm talking about like the movies, man. Like Lean on Me.
You got your phone, bro.
Like Lean on Me, man.
Yeah.
Remember
they used to call him Crazy Joe.
Scroll. I think it was Thursday. Scroll back to Thursday when we was talking about the founding that I heard listening to something about the Ahmaud Arbery.
I was gonna bring that up.
I don't know.
I was gonna bring.
That's a good example, but
say,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if a lot of people even know about that. You see what I'm saying?
I never heard that shit.
Okay, so in doing this genealogy thing, you might come across. I want to make sure you. I don't know. Do you think we should? Can we talk about that without saying too much, or just because it's an example I want to use what he's saying about fight the FBI or the government?
Well, see, I don't.
See, that's the thing.
I don't know where your source comes from. I don't want to make your source.
Well,
don't say your source.
Okay, well,
don't say your source.
Well,
hey,
I'll
let me
say
get
this.
one of those, yo. Just start. I'm gonna run in the car real quick.
Okay, so
don't say your source, bro.
So in genealogy, I've worked on someone's genealogy, and follow me, bro. So I know you'll pick up what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
So I was working on a genealogy, and somebody's name, their last name was attached to an island in the South, and it has government shit on it.
Right.
But this dude's whole name, family name, is attached to this island. Then this brother went to a family member to see if they heard about it and was like, yeah, I heard about that. But there's government shit on an island that's probably theirs in America. The people that's on that island is a very big government entity that could be a big battle to where nobody was trying to fight for this land. Now all of a sudden,
right.
You just want to come out of nowhere. You really think they finna move their $1 trillion operation off because you saying that's my family shit? Like that type of battle is what I was trying to convey to the brother. Everybody not built like that, so it's kind of like pick and choose your battles because we gotta move smart. We already dying out here for a lot of bullshit on top of the shit that they do to us, on top of the shit we do to ourselves. So we don't want to be an easy target, if that makes sense. If you're gonna fight the fight it to where it's within your means, to where you're gonna have longevity. Because mind you, you're the only one that might be fighting this fight. If you going, who else gonna pick up that torch? So you have to move calculated. If that beast is big and you not equipped to fight that type of beast in the current time, in your current state, move smart, because you have a lot of ancestors and might have other shit that might be a smaller beast to fight that's doable. Because if you're the only one in your family carrying this torch, you can't go out there gun ho and you dead. But true. But you gotta.
Dang, why is they still on my
No,
shit?
I feel you, but you gotta be calculated, bro. This is war. You only send the infantry out there. They on the front line. You can't be the infantry and the general and the commander in chief. You can't be all that. So you got to pick and choose your battles. You're the only one carrying this torch. Nobody in your family knew about this. You picking up this torch. You can't just go out there willy-nilly, give me my shit. And they like, what? Give me your shit? I'll give you this. And then who gonna pick it up? You just learned it. You can't take that zealous energy and kill yourself. Because it could be that battle. And that's what I mean with the fight and choose your battles, talk to your family, see where people's head is at, because you might be surprised. You might have some family like, shit, I ain't know that. What we got to do? Because once you get it back, don't think you're going to get it back in this happy ever after. You got to protect that, just like our ancestors protected that land in the first place. That's why they had militia and all that shit. It ain't just about growing shit and reaping the benefits. You had to protect your crops. That's why you had war in the first place.
Right.
So when you get it back, you got to put shit in place to protect it legally and physically. See, that's the part I was trying to convey. When you take these battles, you got to maintain it. Y'all done lost it 100 years, 200 years, 50 years.
So that goes back to the
you got
Aubrey. I'm at the Aubrey now. What would you want to know?
Nah, we good on that, bro. I was just saying how people get killed.
I want to say something.
People get killed for things and we don't even know. You know, that last name is tied to some shit, and I'll say that the last name tied to shit. Yeah, boy could have got killed out here jogging. Ain't know, maybe he knew or not. Name tied to shit. That's why you gotta know your genealogy. You could be out here, headphones in your ear, and somebody watching your ass because you could be tied to some shit that the state want, and your family been sitting on this land 150 years and they don't want to give it up, and they like, shit, he 30, he the next in line, he might, let's get him out the way. But damn, I don't even think that shit. But you know what I'm saying? But it's serious with this genealogy. It ain't got nothing to do with running around saying I'm an Indian, you want to put a fella in your head. That is the corniest shit in the world. You know, look at my phone, bro. Look at this shit, he recorded and shit. Like, that's why I don't, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the genealogy is important, man. You got to know who you are, know what you got to protect.
So
it's the reason why they out here killing y'all. It ain't because you a nigga and they think you a monkey. There's more to it than that. Your name might be tied to something. Brown, Jackson, Shaquita. Your name tied to something.
Let me ask this then.
Leonard, you know.
When it comes to genealogy.
Yes, sir.
It seems like genealogy isn't
really just like, yeah, I seen this shit. Yeah, bro.
When it comes to genealogy, it seems like genealogy just doesn't focus on actual people.
But people
Can
tied
genealogy
to
also,
everything else.
Right. Also to like, yeah, it ties to everything, right? Land, different cities,
kingdoms.
Okay, so
yeah, they go deep.
Okay, so
talk
about genealogy when it comes to America itself, the land of America. Let's talk about that. You know, because we had that conversation about how you see all these same names being in America that's in China.
I see what you're saying. Oh, you're talking about names of the land or the people?
The land, like just different names, such as like in other, when we said like everything seemed to point back to America.
Okay. Well, how can I do that?
I made the little joke. It was a joke when I said I wonder if China has a Martin Luther King Street.
Oh yeah. Then we said about the stuff on Marbury statue over there.
And you said there's two Englands. You told me that? Yeah. There's two Englands, and I looked it up and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It is. It's England and France. Then you got England. Then you got places in here, America that's called England. So what the fuck is that about?
What is that about? Man.
When it comes to genealogy.
Damn. Well.
Answer that shit.
Or does that fit the genealogy mode? That fits.
Well, everything got to start with genealogy. Genealogy, I think, is the foundation to you to figure out what can I do with what my ancestors dropped the ball at or left me with. So let's say your family traces. Let's say I've done a couple families where we get to the 1500s. I ain't seen a slave boat nowhere, right? And then we get to the 1500s. I'll start seeing names tied to places like it'd be England or Britain, right? So then I take that back to the individual. Say, okay, well, I definitely haven't seen a slave boat. You told me you had some ancestors that were Indian. I done found that. And then when we get to, it seemed like this with the 1500 era that I've done a few people and I've seen England names. So I had to start doing my research, say, well, if they Indian, how did they get, and we haven't found a slave, nothing. If anything, they might have actually owned something. How do they, right.
Another.
Right. So then I had to do
country.
Then I had to do the research and be like, oh shit, there was an England, Massachusetts.
We never got this. We never explained it like this.
Right.
The way you explain it now, we ain't never explained it
right,
like
because okay, so when Columbus came, or even before him, like they was trying to research some shit.
Why is it attached to England when everything shows that you?
Well, they, like I said before, they called America the old world. Mm-hmm. It's new world to them because there's some new shit, but America's the old world, the ancient world. So anything outside of that, according to what I've seen in my research, because I know somebody watching like I ain't never heard that shit. But America to them it's the old world. When they discovered it, you can't discover something with people already there. But to them it's new. Oh, that's the new world, but all the traditions, everything is old. So everything comes out of that. So when you see what these people in America gave to the world, we already had the shit. We gave y'all the knowledge of it. When it comes to castles, math, if you want to talk medieval stuff, knights, dragons. I mean, all of them stories that's what we associate with England, my research pointed back here. And I would like to sit down with somebody and let them show me
so
otherwise.
How important is it to,
because if you from here
to do the genealogy of another country?
Why would you do a genealogy of another country? Your genealogy is here.
To see if that name was
well, all like for instance,
there.
It'll say a last name is a surname for a place. Let's say England, right? They'll say that a lot of times. Like it'll say like Anglo-Saxon or something along the lines. But when you start studying the languages and stuff, you even see that they even stole the language too. Because when you understand these Indians, they were very smart people, spoke multiple languages. A lot of these people who's taking these surnames and say that was their shit, they didn't have language. So these people taught them all of this shit, or they stole. We weren't just sitting down teaching anything. That's another misconception. Like they make it seem like we just so friendly. We some to a degree, but a lot of shit we gatekeep, and I'm on gatekeep time now, so I'm very careful what I say. But even things that they say as a tie to England was something that we were gatekeeping, and it got lost, and now they claim it. When even in languages and in math and shit like that. So like we speak English today, the first thing was that because our slave master taught us that. But if I haven't seen no slaves in your family, then who taught y'all English? Or was y'all going to England picking up their language, or was you teaching language over there? See, you gotta understand the English language. I have a dictionary, and it shows every English word and then the origin of it. All of it ties to what they would say early Semitic, which is the same as what we call American Indian language. So who taught the English? We did. We speak the language and teach it. So that's where genealogy is just big ass history lesson that you're doing for yourself.
But that goes back to another
thread that we had talked about in the group chat about the etymology. Why is always
there we go.
Greek of Greek origins. Why does it always say that?
Now to speak on the Greek thing, man, I'll send the link. How about that? I'll send the link, or I'll send a screenshot, and I'll let y'all edit it. So I looked up Greek. I'll show you guys because I knew. Cut it off. I'm gonna cut it back on. I went to Etymology Online. I encourage anybody to do this. There's a website called etymonline.com. It gives you the etymology of English words. If you type in Greek, I didn't learn this. Shout out to Sister Chief Janice, by the way. She put me on this. Y'all need to follow her. She killing it with this research game. I say she the top. People might not like that, especially because it's some women. But fuck all that. She killing the game. Y'all research Chief Janice. But I seen this. She was talking about Greek and Creek is the same. So I went to Etymology Online, and even in that, when you type in the word Greek, it pulls up a word called Krikos. It's spelled with a K. And when you look at that and keep breaking that word down, it goes Krek. That says Creek. Now we have Creek Indians here in the South, and a lot of they ancient shit look Greek. So who had it? The Creeks Indians had it first, or these Greek people had it? You know, you gotta understand, they be stealing stories. They do it, they even steal family names. They come over from them boats, Ellis Island, and steal family names, and then get people out the way and claim the name because y'all dead or not fighting for it. That's another reason why genealogy is important when you brought up the Greek thing. I mean the Greek thing, I said Greek.
Genealogy and etymology.
Well, that's it. Etymology just gives you an understanding of the language we speak. We speak English, so for instance, like we'll use slave because people do the whole slave thing. Look up the etymology of slave. It gives you a better understanding of what slave meant, and you won't see your face in that. Because there's a people, it says, like the brother just said, Slav, that's Slavic people. I mean, just me and him and you sitting here, we don't look Slavic. That word derives from them. See, places and people, their names mean something. I was just riding through here earlier, and I kept seeing this street called Airline Drive or something. I'm like, is there an airline out here in Gastonia? That might have been some older shit that I need to look into. You know, names of people and places mean something. And that word slave, like the brother just said, is Slavic. And there's a people, Slavic people. They not black. That name slave come from them, and they wasn't the ones slave driving. They were the slaves.
And genealogy go hand in hand.
Yeah, because you got to look up the words. And then when you start getting into time frames, genealogy going to take you through history. So you might get far enough where you start dealing with 1500s. They spoke Old English, or you know that Old English like the Shakespeare type of talk, like how it's written in the Bible, the where art thou and all that. That's Old English. And that's why a lot of people don't like to read the Bible outside of Christians, because of that. Just that alone, they're like, I can't get with that shit. When you understand how they're speaking, they know what the words mean, and it might not mean what Pastor such and such said on that pulpit.
That's why niggas that do it say they don't deal with books newer than 200 years. Like, they know that shit is just all convoluted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go back a few hundred years to.
You got to.
Get
genealogy gonna tie with etymology. Then the etymology might tie to some shit you seen on TV that might have been some King Arthur shit. You be like, damn, my family tied to a castle with this, that. Then you might fuck around and Google some shit. I just Googled. You might come across a castle that has your family surname. Then you might look at the coat of arms and you see black faces on it. You're like, what? And my family, shit go deep, man. Like, I'm out here to kill the slavery narrative. That's my thing. If you have slaves, I have a few family members, a couple that were slaves on paper, but I had to see what slave were they. And it wasn't the roots version. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot different. Not the narrative that we was given with the whips and, oh, master, please. It wasn't that version. You know what I'm saying? For my a certain family member that I came across in my genealogy, because that was the only slave I seen, and I was like, let me look to see, and it wasn't the narrative. I went so far as to find the descendant of the slave owner that allegedly owned my ancestor, and we had a conversation through email, and That was weird, to talk to somebody that they said owns your family, till I did the research, and it wasn't a owning, it was a partnership that they had. And you ain't never hear about no partnerships with a black person and a white person in the 1800s. They run shit and we listen to them. But the partnership looked like slaves.
So it was a narrative person.
It was a narrative. I had to kill that for my family. You know, so when I found it, and I did a long group text with all my family and said, this ancestor right here is the only one I seen on paper that a white lady gave me, because her granddaddy said they own this ancestor, that's our ancestor. We had the conversation. She sent documentation that her family kept of 200 years of that owner. And I'm looking through the document, I'm like, oh, they had a partnership? I had to do that for my family. That's why this genealogy shit important. Nobody in my family gave a shit about that till I did that. And they was like, damn, I didn't even know that. They went with the narrative we all went with in school. You know, so you don't know when your family doing genealogy, you might shift the whole dynamics from your whole family just for you doing that research. You waking up your ancestors like, thank you, nigga, about time. Nigga, I've been rolling in my grave for 150 years. They saying thank you. Think of what blessings come your way just for that.
But it's still hard for me to wrap my head
That's fine.
around
It's
the loss.
It's hard for a lot of people.
How did we lose it? How was it lost?
That's a part that everybody's story different. We ain't all
gave these people who come with this new narrative, who gave them the golden spoon or the golden pen?
That's the other side of genealogy.
To switch this narrative.
Somebody could have did it freely. It wasn't forced with everybody. That's another side of this thing. You might see something trying to break the narrative. You might see, damn, my family member was a coon ass nigga because they willingly did this shit. And everybody didn't lose. That's another thing I'm out here trying to do. Everybody ain't lose shit because they just got ransacked by a bunch of soldiers. Nah. Some people willingly gave shit up because they could have had a promised bag from these people.
Hey. Yeah. Go ahead.
So you know what I'm saying? That's where the genealogy coming at, and talking to any elder like, what story you got on such and such?
Yeah, man.
Maybe they ain't lose it. Maybe they gave it up because they was promised something else. That's why you gotta know. Because if that family member fucked it up for the next generations would come up to your generation, it's you now to reverse it to get the shit right. Because they could have gave it up for some selfish shit. We got selfish people in the world. We have selfish people in our family that could have was like, oh, so you telling me y'all want these 1,000 acres and y'all gonna give me some land on a reservation and I get a little check every month for the rest of my life and I ain't gotta farm this shit no more? Or I ain't gotta deal with all these refugees from these wars coming through my land? You know what? I gotta spy a little bit. I ain't gotta hurt nobody though. You just want me to scout a little bit and you paying me $3 million? Okay, I'll do that. Cause that's a narrative for some folks
so
too.
They let them in through the hot gate. Like the 300.
Man, you gotta think, man, our people weren't we weren't no bitch ass people. If we not bitch ass people now, we weren't bitch ass people then. We had people who was like, nigga, I would shoot your ass where you at. They probably got them out the way. You know, I noticed they would get the leaders out the way. Once the leaders can't call the shots, then shit kind of up for grabs. And then you might have somebody like, yeah, I'll do this. You know what I'm saying? We could work something out. This my family. I could work something out.
Two bosses to go away.
Everything
else crumble.
Right. It don't take much. So that's why genealogy is important, because the narrative that might be for a Raleigh family might not but be for yours. Your family might not have lost shit the same way his did. Your family might have not lost shit at all. They might have just ain't paid the taxes and they ain't gave a fuck. It could be a lot of everybody. We not cookie cutter people. That's why genealogy for an individual is important, because you know what you got to deal with for you and your blood. The narrative to say all black people got the same type of loss is not true. We might look like we suffering the same, but the way we got to that suffering point might not be the same. Some people gave in. Some people died. Some people got locked up in exile. A lot of shit, and it just leaves you like, shit, I ain't got shit. You know?
I'm gonna ask you a simple question. Probably open. It's probably open end, but how many black people in America do you feel are tied to this situation that we're going through?
Like the poor situation?
No, not poor.
What you mean?
The situation of being
Indigenous.
Lost and indigenous.
You saying how many black? Let me make sure I understand.
Percentage that you would say.
You saying how many black people are from America?
Right, originally.
Well, I'm gonna say their numbers say, as far as the slavery thing, we know they would say like 150 million came. That number keep getting sliced down. I've seen as low as 388,000 people came from Africa. That's the lowest amount I've seen.
Not the Africa thing, though.
So that means everybody else would be from here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If only 300-something thousand came, then all these millions of niggas that's here is from here. And when I mean here, I mean not just North America. I'm talking about the Caribbean and South America too.
So are the foreign black people part of that 13%?
When you say foreign, like Africans or anybody not from America?
Right. Would they be part of the 13% that they say now is in America or black?
Well, because they try to group us all.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why you got to do your genealogy.
So you saying that they would be part of the 13%?
Well, for today's numbers, like if an African from Africa was sitting in here with us right now and the cops come, he's just gonna say we all niggas, right? But I'm talking about as far as census papers and stuff. I don't even do the census, and there's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of black people not accounted for. You gotta account for the ones that's locked up too. You gotta account for the ones that's homeless that don't got paperwork.
Right.
You gotta account for. There's a lot of black people that not on paper. So when they say like 300 million black people here, based off what number? That's just what y'all counted.
No, 300 million?
That's what they say might be here.
It's 330 million in America.
300
period.
People.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more than that.
Well, the last census was 330 million.
Yeah, and then there's people that ain't take it. I'm one of them. I ain't never took one.
So it can't be 300.
It can't be.
Million.
There's a lot of people like me that don't do that. That's just what they count for.
I never did no fucking.
Then you gotta think.
Huh?
I never did no sense.
Me neither, but
So where they get
the
these
way
numbers
saying
from?
it, like,
Everybody not
if you
accounted
said
for.
330 million,
It's probably more than that.
and then he said
No,
300
people, period.
Yeah, people,
300
period.
But it's probably more black people in America than that.
Then 13%.
Because it's parts
Then
of America that
330
you don't
million?
even know about. There's lands in America that says unincorporated county. Unincorporated, shout out to Chief Janice on this one too. Unincorporated is mean they ain't lose their shit. The family still got their land. There's lands in North Carolina, South Carolina, New York. It's unincorporated land everywhere. Family ain't never lost it. That means they held their ground. They still kicking. They got that land. A lot of it. So them people live on their own shit. They don't even have police. The police got to get permission to come on their land. It's that serious.
Yeah, Snowden was like that in Mount Pleasant, down in Charleston, man.
See?
When I first went down there, it was
That's where your people, right?
through.
Yeah, that's they shit. That's not their territory. That's out their
And
jurisdiction.
then one by one, they start getting people to take, because niggas had septic tanks and shit. People start getting sewer and shit. More and more people start joining into the shit. And now white people be up in that motherfucker now.
So yeah, when you saying that number, man, you can't. I don't really think you can number us all, man. Like, there's too many of us. When they tell us that, I think it kind of put a blockage on you. Because for one, black people, we pop out a lot of babies. For one, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got a lot of deadbeat dads and all type of. I don't think that's the correct number, man. Because I feel like America's even bigger than what they tell us. Because you gotta remember that census record would have to match the current maps. And I already know these maps are fugazi. When I show in some of them Zoom meetings I do, and I show some of these maps of America, that shit is big enough to fit China and all that.
And when we talk about America, we ain't talking about just North America. We talking about South America, Mexico, the Gulf, and all that.
Right.
Right?
Like just what Brazil, they say, no, I'm saying they say Brazil has the second largest population of black people in the world beside Africa. How is that? How is that accurate? And how does that sound? Because Brazil is pretty big. How they the second largest in the world for black people? Then the narrative is, oh, they had the most slave shit there. That doesn't make sense when you really use your brain. How is that the second largest out of Africa? Africa's a pretty big place. You know, so a lot of this stuff, man, is common sense, man. I think it's way more than 330 million people in America, and them 330 million probably just niggas alone that took the census. Because it's not enough white people to cover. It's a lot of people. Like they say, it's X amount of billion people in the world. How they know that number?
Right.
Everybody not accounted for. Where they getting them numbers from?
300 million is pretty damn close to $1 billion.
Nah, no, it ain't. You still 700 million off. 700 million plus 300 million is $1 billion. So
that's what I'm saying. That's pretty close.
But they saying what they saying? 4 billion people in the world.
Africa, I know
7.
Africa.
They say 7 billion people
Africa
in the
gotta
world.
have at least 400 million. If
How
we got
we-
300 million.
Yeah, but that's North America they talking about. And that's, again, people that's not accounted for, that they just throwing a number out there. So think about it. When you see these surveys in your email or some shit that come in your mailbox, like about sleep and shit, and they be like, oh, we tested 5,000 people and these people deal with this. You be like, shit, I ain't never took no survey. Like, where y'all get these numbers from? And then people just go with it because it sounds smart. They did the research. They know what they doing. And it came from the Smithsonian on National Geographic. A pronounced name. You like, they know what they talking about.
The Carnegie Foundation.
Yeah, you like, oh, they know. That's their shit. They know. And we just take the shit. But they were just here. It was thousands and thousands and thousands of tribes in America alone. I was looking in some shit today, and I was seeing tribe names I ain't even heard of. It was like Snake tribe. I ain't never heard no Snake tribe. And that was on some shit I had seen with your shit. We'll talk about that. I was like, what? When I had text you with the last name, I seen 800 and something pages. Did you get that text? And I'm like, Snake? I ain't even heard of no Snake tribe. There's so many people. It's like in Africa. There's so many tribes and sub-tribes. You pick one. The same as here. You gotta have that same mentality here. We just know the tribes that's popular. But there's so many tribes and tribes attached to kingdoms and shit. Like I showed in one of my previous Zoom meetings. I'm showing kingdoms in America.
Why don't they talk about the Creek Indians?
Why would they? If Creek and Greek is similar, they might find out that them is the same shit, like 300. And then like the
Sparta
300 story. There's a Sparta in Georgia. Wow.
What would that be about?
Then you got these brothers, what they call the 600 Immortals, when they was fighting in the war. 600 Immortals. I mean, just 300 more niggas than the 300 story. You know? So
they demonized them. They made them look all crazy and shit.
So I'm just saying, man, genealogy is gonna open up the door for a lot of shit. It ain't even got nothing to do with getting land. It do got something to do with getting land. But even some of these mythical stories, you might see your family in that story and be like, shit, my family from such and such.
What you mean, like Noah in Florida? Noah.
Oh yeah, shit like that.
What you mean,
see,
something like that?
You be trying to do, like that. Like Noah he built the ark out of.
What kind of wood was it?
Gopher wood.
What is that?
The same wood that was Moses' staff.
Where they get that at?
That's cypress trees.
Where they do that at?
I mean, Florida.
Where Florida? Like Florida where?
Like America, Florida.
Israel?
Like Disney World. Like
what you mean, like
Duval
Palestine?
County, like the Zoes, them people. Florida. Yeah. The dudes with the really thick dreads, the gold teeth that the white people scared of and shit.
You saying
Kodak Black, Florida.
That might be something that might have something to do with each other?
I mean, what you mean? What you saying is what have something to do with what?
Like you just kind of implied that.
No, you kind of implied. You asked me the question. I just answered.
Cypress was some kind of history
native to
in Florida.
So yeah, I mean,
and that's what kind of
people
wood?
that watch this are smart. That's gopher wood.
You said what?
Gopher wood is cypress.
Well, like a beaver.
Because it doesn't warp in water. It doesn't. It can withstand water.
Perfect for
so
like
it's perfect for a boat or a carnival cruise.
And they were saying how them niggas down in Florida had boats that was like we just couldn't sink them motherfuckers. Like
yeah, I mean yeah. That might be Noah's kin. I'm sorry, just being funny, or maybe not. But yeah,
Wow.
then you see places. Now let's deal with that for a
see that
second.
fight?
Then you go to certain places in Florida, and you see places like Kingsland, Georgia, and shit, or St. Peter's, and you're like Saint. You don't associate Saint nothing
I've been hearing a lot
unless it's
about
something
Saint
with
Pete.
royalty.
St. Augustine.
St. Augustine. I mean, there's a lot of shit could go, man.
That's crazy.
I mean, just for shits and giggles, right? Since we use Noah, Jesus had a crown of thorn on his head, right? Whether you go to church or not, most people even seen a cross hanging somewhere, and Jesus is on the cross. He got a crown of thorn in his head. Has anybody looked up to see what type of thorn that was?
I think it was like roses. So.
I think the thorn. I don't want to misquote. Think the thorn is a type of tree, like a type of pine tree. I'm gonna have to look that up and get back to y'all. But I could have sworn I seen that. Pine is also native to the south, eastern United States, by the way.
What you mean? Not like South America?
Nah, like
The southern part
the
of
southern part of
this
America,
country,
the North
that we live
America, yeah,
above Mexico.
yeah, like North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina,
This
around here.
This place seemed to have
Petey
some kind
Pablo.
of significance.
I mean, there's a lot of biblical names out here, but that's just for shits and giggles, though. You know, ain't that.
Yeah, I ain't there. I don't seem that funny to me. 'Cause I'm like,
What about the Beverly
everybody know
Hillbillies
how
thing? Like,
important North Carolina.
I mean,
why is it that where's that perpetual like
who you said?
making
Beverly
fun?
Hillbillies?
Yeah, that making fun of the whole South thing.
That's no different than when you watch like Gunsmoke or one of them John Wayne shits, and you see the Indian come up and he goes, "How?" Right? That's how he greet, right? How? Like, well, that's the same shit with the Beverly Hillbillies. Same shit. Or where they show the white dude with he got the black face and he's chasing the white lady through the woods and shit.
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, they say he smoked that cigarette and he get crazy. And
Reefer Madness.
yeah, all of that, man. I mean, that's all propaganda. And I told you before, propaganda is a tool in war. So if I'm constantly fighting you, I already kind of got you beat.
So they
I need to keep you thinking.
They kind of
that
was like making caricatures of the Southern. See, that's the whole thing. Southern heritage. We see that them driving around with the Southern heritage. But whose heritage is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Let's look at Southern heritage again, right? So we'll go through the slave books in school and we'll see, Sis be on it. Chief Janice, he be on it. Sis will talk about the slave pictures, and we'll see a little shack looking thing, and we posing in front of it. You start doing your indigenous studies, those are smokehouses. We had so much land, we had a whole house for
Just to
smoking
go
meat.
smoke.
Then when they take the picture, we working. We got on raggedy clothes. We taking picture in front of the smokehouse,
just
and
like
they
how
tell you
do
that's
with
a
the
shack that
terrorists
they
and
lived
shit.
in.
Like the Boston bombing and shit.
Yeah. Them pictures was smokehouses, y'all. Them smokehouses. Them not slave shacks. Y'all had that much land. You had a whole house full of meat. Why would you go in there dressed to the nine? You going in there dressed raggedy. You working.
To go get something
And
to
they
eat.
want to take the picture. You smoking meats because that's another tradition that's American. That
So
we
these
do.
little shacks that we drive in the South and see on the side of the road, those ain't like slaves.
I mean, some of the that depends. Like where you at. Like that could have just been an old barn. But I'm talking about those pictures that they showed us in school, them old little raggedy shits.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
what
see
I'm
the
saying.
family, we looking all like
Fucked
not
up.
smiling.
Yeah.
Nigga, we in the hot
All
ass
tired.
smokehouse.
They all tired
Those are-
from working,
'cause-
picking all the cotton and tobacco.
Yeah, look how we eat. Like we smoke food, we
For
grill.
ourselves.
We had a whole house just for smoking meat. But they ain't gonna show you the other picture where we got that big ass Victorian style house.
Table,
A few
fucking
like a half
16
an acre down. They want to take the picture with me in front of my smokehouse and make me look like a sad slave. Nigga, I got a house for meat only. That's another perspective too. Like the Freedman School picture we talked about. Same thing.
Yeah.
How you
Like-
have a Freedman School? And then you see that was for teaching Indians.
So how fucking exhausting must it be?
That's the words you want to go with?
How fucking exhausting must it be to have to do that?
To do what? To take that picture?
At some point, like, them niggas figured they was out the woods at some point.
Which one? Who we talking about?
These people,
the people in the pictures.
Taking these pictures.
Oh, the people taking the pictures.
And that's what I'm sitting there. That's where my mind going right now. Like,
you talking about people snapping the photos? Okay.
The crazy part of my mind, not crazy, but you know,
yeah, I do see
that part of my mind. Like, so they took this picture. You
flipped it.
You found the picture and said, "Okay, we're gonna kill these motherfuckers and use the picture for something else."
Better yet, not even kill them. They don't even know their picture floating around these past 200 years. That's
what I'm saying.
Taking a fucking picture.
How exhausting must it be?
Who's behind the damn camera?
That's what I'm saying.
Who's the one posted the picture?
That's my question.
Historians.
Nigga, that's what I'm saying. How exhausting must it be?
War is going on. Why would I look happy in this picture? There's a war down the street from my land. This niggas, soldiers coming through for refuge. You got a lot. Why would I be smiling in this pic? Nigga, you called me at the wrong time. Hair been snapped. Now, mind you, let's keep this in the same perspective. You also got people taking pictures of these people that they call Indian posing. My research be showing that's decorative shit. They putting on costumes. When you see a let's use a what's their name?
Like the military when you wearing your blues and shit.
Yeah, it'd be I'm trying to use a name like a El Pop a Pueblo Indian. And you see some these other people that look Hispanic posing as an Indian. This is all going on at the same time, mind you. They got to paint this narrative because you got wars going on. You have classification changes going on. You got new alphabet boy systems coming in place. And when I mean alphabet boys, like you have the FBI, then you have the IRS, then you have other alphabet boys that come through these systems.
Right.
CCC.
So you saying the agenda was being played out as it was going?
Yeah, of course. It's a war going on.
Propaganda and
propaganda is a tool of war. Yeah. Think about
paint a picture.
When they
just
have
like with Iraq, nigga.
Yeah, the Uncle Sam, he wants you.
Yeah.
Things back in the day. That's
we can
propaganda. Do it. It makes you think the shit is cool.
So they give you the. So
it's propaganda, bro.
So they give you the picture, but they got the damn.
Yeah.
The what they call it.
The storyline behind the picture.
The actual.
All you did was pose.
Yeah.
You didn't even know what they finna do with
the caption. Said, "Look at these little slave niggas in front of their slave house."
It's a pretty picture. Hell yeah. And you. I got the proof, but I got the.
And you made a whole.
Copy.
Yeah, you made a whole propaganda behind it, mama. It's mind you, there's a whole war going on.
Look at the collection of little slave niggas in front of their little slave house.
Cause look how sad they look, and we bought it. We bought the picture. Like, I hate what they did to my people.
They just treat us so bad.
Your ancestor, if that's your ancestor,
and they back there eating like, motherfucking
nigga, I'm in here
brisket and shit. Nigga. Yeah, they got brisket. You better be they in there like, nigga, what you tripping about? Shit good, nigga.
Propaganda.
Oh yeah, they fucked up out there, but we good.
Propaganda is a fool, bro.
Don't listen to that shit, nigga.
Now then you have classification.
You can come back and get this land, nigga.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
That shit. It was so much shit happening simultaneously, but you have to see that. You have to know history. These things is happening simultaneously, so they not thinking right then. They thinking shit. The next generation or 2 generations later, they gonna have this narrative,
right?
Because they in it for the long haul. They might have lost the battle. They trying to win the fucking war. Because think of the battles I talked to y'all about a few podcasts ago, about all the wars happening. But they like, y'all won these battles, but we trying to win the fucking war. That's where they at. They like, shit, my grandkids gonna think this about that. Even though they whooped my ass, my grandkids gonna think granddaddy was a war hero. Which is why a lot of them got Confederate flags flying, because they don't know that Confederate flag was one of our shits in here. And black people like, fuck that flag. That's the nigga, that was y'all shit. They took it. They flipped the stories around.
But the orchestration of this shit is crazy.
I know, man. That shit is played out like the Steven Spielberg movie.
Right.
They really propaganda. You can't have war without propaganda, though. You have to make shit sound good for a particular side so you can join it. Which is why one of y'all asked me about black people fighting for the military in Vietnam. That's that type. They make the shit sound good. Y'all come on over. We gonna give you free schooling and this, that, checks. What them niggas come home to? Nothing.
Fucked
but
up.
Drugs, opiates.
Dope, nigga. Dope.
Yeah, fucked up. Ain't had shit. But then the dudes they fought alongside that they done saved the white dude life for, he come home to some shit. We come home to shit.
Bills,
they
shit.
come home to some shit, but we come home to shit.
I gotta ask.
My dad got me a job at the mill managing.
But I gotta ask this question.
Benefits.
With no mill experience.
All these pictures,
Off the rip.
pictures we talking about. If you know,
You training, nigga.
If you notice, they were all pictures that came from the South.
Of course.
Okay.
That's where the wars was at, mostly.
We talked about this. Who the fuck
Took the picture.
who the fuck was Frederick Douglass for?
That goes to the thing we talked about with Harriet Tubman.
Because he was up north.
I would.
Who the fuck was he
Y'all might
for,
not
bro?
like this. I think he was an op. And I
But
think
your
the
boy
same
said-
as Harry.
But
I mean,
your boy
same as Harry.
just did a daggum a podcast or
I think he was
that,
an op,
that,
man.
that he said Frederick Douglass spent a lot of his own money to keep the Freedmen banks popping.
Yeah, he did. He did. I have some ancestors who has accounts for the Freedmen. Well, I mean, you can't access it now, but that shit got going.
So why would he do that?
I forgot
and be
what
op?
president. Forgot the president. I mean, think about it, man. These are nations against nations, and that's tribe and tribe. I'm not
I
saying.
don't want to take nothing against.
I'm not
FBI.
taking none either, man. But the North represented the Union.
Right.
The South was a Confederacy. That same with Harriet Tubman. They both was abolitionists, right? That's what the narrative. Harriet was a Union spy and scout. You could look that up. Who is she spying on? When you a spy, how do you become a spy? What do you have to infiltrate something to be a spy, right? So that means you have to look like what you infiltrate. So you have to talk like what you
was the
infiltrate.
Underground Railroad? If that's don't be slandering.
No, I'm not slandering this.
Love
What did they say it was? You tell me what they said it was.
Saving niggas like, come on, nigga.
Where's those people she saved? Why we never hear their story? All the people she saved, we should know their accounts too.
Somebody should.
Because there's also something called the reverse Underground Railroad. Y'all can Google that shit. Where they had spies camped along that shit, snatching them motherfuckers right up. 12 Years a Slave. Y'all done seen that movie. Where he was at? He was in New York as a violinist.
Oh no, I'm good.
They captured him and took him where? To the south. Who were those people? Somebody had to tell them, yo, we got these motherfucking people up here. Whether they was, he was born free.
Do they think it's sweet?
He was born free, man.
This nigga had the nerve to tell me he's a free nigga.
So if you have an Underground Railroad, how can people be catching, like 12 Years a Slave is a great example. He was from the North. And they captured him and brought him way to wherever the fuck they brought him to down south.
That don't make sense.
It don't. But she was a spy for the Union and a scout, bro. That's what you gotta understand. Who the Union fought?
The Confederates.
Then who she spying and scouting on?
The Confederates.
And giving what information back?
So what?
You a spy.
So
that was her job.
So in other words, she was snatching them white folks, taking them to the North.
I mean, whoever.
Was it? Which one was it?
Alright, if she is a slave, runaway slave, right? All these, and I think I talked to y'all about this, but you have bounty hunters back then. One of the top ones is Bass Reeves. That's a brother for y'all who don't know. He spoke.
The Lone Ranger.
He's from Oklahoma. His area was Indian Territory in Oklahoma, Tulsa, all that, you know. But there's a movie on him on Amazon too. Y'all should check that shit out. But Bass Reeves was one of the top slave catchers. You mean to tell me he couldn't catch Harriet with all that traveling? If we know what the Underground Railroad is today, you mean to tell me they didn't know this path? She just, too many niggas is getting free, allegedly, if her story is accurate. We gotta find this chick. She's letting go too much money. She fucking up the money. You got Bass Reeves and plenty of others, but Bass Reeves was like the best one. He ain't fuck up no bounty. He was the shit. He never got shot, nothing. Bullets fly past. It's like he was ordained for that shit. Like, he was Indian too. But see his pictures, he definitely looked like a nigga. But y'all know how that go.
I mean, but Tonto was important.
Yeah, but Why did Bass Reeves speak multiple languages? Multiple Indian languages.
Man, you leaving Tonto out.
I'm saying Tonto was working with him though. He's the marshal. That's his associate. Tonto wasn't the head.
Was Indian.
Yeah, but Bass Reeves is the head. Tonto is his associate. So
when
why they couldn't catch Harriet?
Why they present,
Harriet was that
why
sneaky?
They present him as a white man and Tonto was the Indian? Like,
Right.
Nah, you could Google Bass Reeves.
No, I'm
They
saying
still
like,
got
the
his
Lone Ranger
picture
is
up.
based on him, but I'm just saying like.
Why would they not whitewash him? I mean, come on. I would whitewash him if I was there.
So it was just two niggas.
Two niggas.
Yeah, really,
Bass
Bass
Reeves and another nigga.
was the nigga though. Like,
So
you
what was
need the
Tonto?
job done, I'm gonna call
What
you.
was Tonto?
Was Tonto the other Indian?
His associate.
Was he another nigga though?
Yeah, but Bass is the guy that everyone gives the accolades to
Lone Ranger.
because you know how he ain't lose nothing. He ain't lose no bounty.
Right.
I mean, that's like how people give Tom Brady the accolades they give him. He's the Tom Brady back then. He's the Patriot. So yeah, I mean, that's just the thing with Frederick. I mean, obviously we wasn't born back then, but just trying to look through the history, you representing the North in the Civil War. That's the Union. Harriet was a spy. This nigga had a newspaper. He dropping the Jews in the newspaper, man. That's ammo for the Union, man. I mean, come on. I got family members who had bank accounts with the Freeman Bank, so I'm not even gonna act biased with the shit. Yeah, hit the mouth. So, at the end of the day, man, I'm just trying to show another perspective, man. If our family from the South, for the ones, you know, whose family is from the South, and you have somebody like Harriet Tubman who they's gonna put on a $20 bill, they give all these accolades, but she was a spy for the Union. How you a spy for a Union and a slave freer at the same time? That don't make sense. What are you spying on?
On slaves.
And if the Confederates wasn't these redneck people,
Or the refugees of the craziness. People trying to get the fuck out of there.
well, even in that. In Savannah, they got a statue downtown Savannah and show Haitians fighting with the Confederates. How the fuck the Haitians get over here to help them? Ain't Haiti man fought? How is Haitians fighting for Confederates? Ain't the Confederates a bunch of redneck white people? Why would they fight with them?
To differentiate, like,
I mean, it's easy to spot out a redneck.
no, I'm saying,
and then
like,
you Haitian.
Haitians and people that's from here. Like,
Yeah, like, I mean, it's a whole statue downtown Savannah, where my mom's peoples is from. Whole statue, and they tell you at the bottom of the statue, they fought alongside the Confederates.
So, okay, if the Confederates...
And they sailed small boats to get to Savannah, mind you, from Haiti.
Wow.
That's another...
That had to be hard, nigga.
Maybe, or
Small
unless...
boats along the Atlantic, nigga.
Yeah, unless Haiti ain't that far. But, yeah, I remember them Haitians that was over here last year in Texas.
Yeah, they said they flew them niggas.
What the fuck happened to them, but whatever.
How they get over it?
Yeah, they walk, nigga. Maybe.
Banana boats and shit.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, man. Y'all gotta make stuff make sense. That I keep hearing that quote now with the younger generation. They be like, make it, the math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing with a lot of them old narratives we just held on to for a long time. But grandma did say, boy, you Indian, boy, you got Indian outfit. Why we can't take that and run with it? We want to hear all that other shit.
Because we get out in the street and it's like, oh, here you go, you always got Indian.
And then you want to be
and
like,
oh, bitch,
when
always
you
talking
say
about,
what they want to do, look at your hair or some shit. Like,
nigga,
you ain't got Indian with that
I
nappy
figured
ass,
you
bro.
was half white. Indian mean half white and shit. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
it's so many, man. It's disgusting, man. But hey, that's all I'm here for, just to give another perspective on things.
And then see an Indian and be like, oh, that's an Indian.
Yeah. Then we see an Indian from India and get him more
respect.
like, nigga, like, come on, man. See, either Columbus was stupid or he knew what he was doing. Forget the genocide part. We know that. But either he knew where he was going or he made the mistake like they said he did. He knew where he was trying to get the gold and who had it. Or he was that dumb and just stumbled across like, oh shit.
I mean, which story sound better if you...
Nah, I need people to use their brain. That's what I need people to
But I'm
do.
saying,
Not
like,
what sound
which
better.
story sound better?
You
I'm
just
saying,
sailing on a
the
boat
reason they
and you
tell
come
lies
across
is
some
because
shit.
they have to keep telling lies. It's like, it's a lie. So, in order for me to sleep at night, yeah, Columbus, he came and discovered. You know what I'm saying? Even niggas is at school like, yeah, Columbus discovered.
And the part I keep saying is that nigga used the Bible and came across America. That's the part people don't be wanna. That nigga used the Bible in his own writings.
I was just looking at that in this text.
He used the Bible scriptures to find this land. I used some of that in the last Zoom I did, where he thought he was in a Garden of Eden based on the rivers that he traveled.
Wow.
Damn, we can't. People keep wanting to skip over that shit.
Skip over that. Just jump over that
nigga
part.
used the Bible to find America? Now that's gonna make the Bible look different.
Right? So it's like...
So you see how this...
Why don't they teach that? Like, if this nigga went to college and theology school and shit, why ain't that word being taught in the nigga church,
nigga,
man?
That kills... What?
I shouldn't say that.
The nigga church?
I shouldn't say that.
I mean, where is he
from? Okay, if
He's
I'm
from
in church,
Spain, right?
If I'm in church, I want to feel good about myself.
Yeah.
If the truth is something that make me feel good about myself, why not tell us that?
Columbus used the Bible to find America.
Yeah, tell us
that should give you more Holy Spirit, right? You should shout harder for that. Great, I'm in America, great. Yeah,
this is where I'm supposed. This is my home, nigga. This is what's up.
God bless America.
There you go.
And no things in it.
There you go.
I'm home where I'm supposed to be. Why they telling me I'm the Gentile and shit?
Yeah.
Why I got to be the Gentile?
Yeah. You see this
Why I got to kiss these Jews' ass to get to heaven?
Yo, man, see how this shit could go, man? All from genealogy. For me, genealogy, that shit don't stop. I still be learning shit about my family.
Gentile. Why I got to be the motherfucker that got to kiss? All right, I got to kiss the Jews' ass to make it to heaven.
Speaking of that,
the Jews are great. Israel's great. Everything is great.
Stop being anti-Semitic.
Y'all seen the Pope come over here? What, last week? A couple weeks ago?
Oh no.
And them Native Americans adopted him into the tribe.
Put the joint on his head.
They put the joint on his
I
head.
saw it. Yeah.
Now, mind you, the Pope supposed to be the all and be all, right?
Yeah.
How we adopt? Nah, hold. Let me watch my. I ain't
he
to say
them
we.
like we're respecting all that.
Nah, he got adopted into their shit. So damn, the man.
They tell niggas, don't you even get near the Pope.
So
the
Native
Pope
Americans got more pull than the Pope.
That's what it looked like.
He had to get adopted into.
Like he looked pretty proud when they was putting the joint on his head. It wasn't
ain't like they was adopting the his shit.
It wasn't like Trump when they motherfuckers put the hat on his head. Like okay,
this
put the hat on.
He was getting initiated into a
game. That's how it looked to me.
That's a lot right there.
That's a whole lot of respect right there,
old
nigga.
ass dude coming up there with the headdress.
Like, what the fuck is going on here, nigga?
This nigga came over here to get
he broke through the street in a bowl and shit. Like niggas can't get close to him. Now he is just standing upright and shit with his scoliosis and shit.
Sound like Indians got power. So we got the key is to
something
find out
being
who
said.
is who.
Something being said.
That
I watched
came
it.
over
I'm like,
here.
what am I watching right here? Like.
Yeah, that was just what
I seen him kissing niggas' feet and shit. Like, what's going on?
You do that to him, right? When he come over here, it be on Good Morning America. Shit shut down.
Motherfuckers.
That nigga came over here down with this shit.
The Pope.
Yeah, the Pope, nigga.
Them niggas seem like to me they was like, all right, the Pope on his way. All right, let's get the guy. All right, let's get the dog.
Like who's over the Pope, bro?
Them niggas
like
over
who
the Pope.
cuts
Look
the
like
Pope the check? He is the check, right?
Hey,
that nigga came over here showing respect.
It looked like he was the little man in that situation.
Just saying.
Like
that's why genealogy is important.
Like they
that could have been my fucking tribe. I'm like, hold on, what the fuck is we doing?
Yeah, well, why all of a sudden?
And why was that publicized?
Why are we laying this prestige on him?
We can't really.
He is a farce. He is a fraud.
Understand that right now.
How dare we sully our motherfucking heritage?
Why all of a sudden now? And publicize.
Why all of a sudden now?
Right, but it happened all the time.
What's up
just
for grabs right now? What nation's buying up all the land over here? Where he talked about the corporations. China buying all this land over here. All these countries trying to buy this land up. Why? Bill Gates buying up all this land.
Bill Gates, man.
All these nations. Why everybody want to get their hands on American real estate bubble is hot right now? Why?
There's a lot of money.
As soon as that shit came out with that beach, why is everybody trying to grab shit up now? We already had gentrification going on. That's the other side.
It's crazy.
But in gentrification, you got to see who is these companies buying up these houses in the hood.
China.
Them people,
corporations
over there.
Corporations.
Them be from over there. Other people, why they want to spend their money over here?
They just the face.
The American dollar so fucked up, right?
It don't make no sense.
It don't make sense.
The math ain't math.
It don't make no sense to buy up a whole bunch of shit that you know you
through American dollar at that. But it don't mean shit.
You could possibly lose.
Lose what?
Through Genealogy.
They don't know we know that. We just
That's
learning
what I'm saying.
it. You see, that
Then it make absolute sense.
the beach is the
How?
perfect
If
example.
they
Why
don't,
you gonna
if
waste-
they
you gonna
they
waste
don't
your
think
money
we know.
to know
They
you
don't
gonna-
think we know.
Yeah, they don't think we do.
They don't
bro.
think
we
we
slowly
know.
getting it.
The beach,
The
fucking
beach thing was on
Bruce.
CNN and niggas still missed it because it was scrolling at the bottom while we see the bug at the top of the screen in
On the-
Trump
yeah, the
touching
little scroll
coochie and
shit, the
shit.
little scroll
that
shit.
bottom shit that I tell people, you better watch that bottom.
The scroll said, man, these
that
niggas
shit
taking it
saying it
back.
at the bottom.
These niggas taking it back.
He's stupid. He's stupid. I'm just saying that shit scroll real quick at the
There's some more
bottom.
COVID shit on there. These niggas taking it back.
Yeah.
We gotta say it though, 'cause that's the
Pandemic.
karma. They gotta
It's
say it.
propaganda too.
They gotta put it out.
That beach shit was on major news. Bro.
Like, yeah.
The Tulsa reparation shit was on major news. When I shared that article, that was from CNN about the Tulsa shit. But who missed that?
Who like we
CNN.
gotta zone in on that whole the Bruce thing, and they don't think we know.
Yeah, we getting it in small numbers though. Like these podcasts
All we have
right
to see
here.
is these small, not small, these big, but small because they're not being shown. Examples.
They don't think.
Oh, hold up, man. These examples that's happening all over the country, man. These
That shit is
like the shit
popping.
that they have to report on, but like he said, you see the bug, but at the bottom of the screen,
bottom of the
nigga.
screen. The bottom
These
of the
niggas
screen
taking
got
it
the
back,
most
slowly but
important-
surely.
What scrolls at the bottom is stock shit because that affects the money and the news that matter. Nobody look at that because they looking at the main shit, or you see some shit
The
about
circle shit with the spikes and shit.
some sports, like he said, that you know the shit
or,
that is the
Johnny Depp.
yeah
That's stupid shit.
yeah.
That's
But this
dumbass shit.
the Tulsa shit was going on during the Johnny Depp
Yep.
shit, and that was on the same news platform, but it was on the small shit.
They have to report it, but they're not
They
gonna
gotta
make it the main
report it,
thing.
yeah. But
The fine print.
Yeah.
read the fine print like they say, right?
Read the scroll at the
when a
bottom.
nigga be
nigga.
talking real fast when they read
Yep.
that disclaimer on the radio.
And then you got shit, bells and shit on that side, and little lights and shit on that side.
Could cause blindness. Could get diarrhea. Bleeding of the
They
eyes.
saying that shit fast as hell though. Like they don't want you to hear it.
And at the bottom of the screen, niggas is taking it back.
But like you'll die twice. Like all type of shit. Like
You'll die, come back and die again.
yeah, that shit be crazy. Damn, we said all that, but that's why genealogy is
And
important.
how
It
much?
start
How long
right
we been
there.
going, man?
A minute and 46. I mean, an hour and 46.
2 hours.
Oh man, that's dope, nigga. Put this whole shit
But
up.
all that's genealogy. It start there. That simple step will take you down that rabbit hole to see
Guess
about your
who's
fucking
back?
family, man.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
For real, this shit is not a game, bro. Not a game. But shout out to my Africans that is from Africa. Shout out to y'all. But this ain't, let us have our own shit, man. Y'all come over here embracing that shit, but we don't embrace our shit. Fuck that. I'm tired of that.
How they say that
I'm doing
nigga, that
it no
nigga
more.
chose violence?
Niggas is wearing dashikis and niggas in Africa don't even wear dashikis. What is that? Y'all be seeing Africans wear dashikis?
Not really. Not like
Not
that
really.
nigga Michael Blackson. He be wearing them.
Yeah, but that nigga don't even talk like that when there's interviews. That nigga talk
He's
proper
straight
as
from
hell.
Philly, man. He from Philly.
Yeah,
man.
come on, man. That shit is propaganda again.
Oh yeah.
Propaganda is a powerful tool, man. Powerful tool. And these things that kept our people down for years, y'all mentioned like church and things. Y'all seen that Creflo Dollar shit?
About the plane and shit. About him.
Nah,
him
about the tithes.
repenting. Him
About the
repenting.
tithes shit.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
said
what
throw
was the
away.
significance
He
of
said
that,
throw
man?
away every book tape that I ever recorded teaching about paying tithes.
So what does that mean again? I didn't.
I
really
mean,
see
that's
the
a big
significance.
wig dude. That's the big boy. He
So
on the big
what
boy.
what does it mean to say that though?
Why would he say that? For one, is beyond me. When that's your bag, he done made millions off that shit.
Yeah. So why would
So-
he do that? What's the significance?
I mean, for me, I think it fits the age we in. A lot of black people leaving churches, bro,
So he's saying that more.
and they
about-
leaving churches because they
So you
tired of
think
the
he was
bullshit.
sincere, like heartfelt?
I mean, you did that on national TV. Whether it
Nigga,
was
he
sincere,
said like, "Don't pay me no more.
like it's like either you was sincere
Stop
or you.
paying me, please."
Yeah, but
I
he
was
ain't turn the
wrong.
money back in though.
No,
He,
That's
he
what I'm
ain't
saying,
cut
like-
the check.
And
But
niggas was
don't
probably
buy
still.
no more of my
he
shit.
probably got donations based on that.
I mean,
Let me
I
send
don't
him
be-
some money since he said don't send him some
For
money.
you to say that, either you was legit feeling bad or your publicist told you. Either way, to say that shit that caused turmoil in that arena, man.
Who the fuck does that?
In that realm, because
I bet on what's the white
niggas
dude?
Got to pay tithes to
What's
get
the white
rich,
dude with the big coat with the big church in Houston
to get to heaven and have wealth and all that. Then this nigga said don't do that.
What you think? The white dude. What's his name in Houston, man? That told niggas, nah, you ain't coming to my church.
For the flood shit.
Yeah.
Oh, Lakewood.
What
was that? Osteen.
What the fuck?
Joel Osteen.
What was that phone call like when Osteen heard that shit?
You know that nigga called it, bro. He called that nigga quick. He FaceTimed that nigga.
Yeah, right. Like, goddamn, you answer this phone, Creflo.
He called the shit out that nigga, yo.
You answer this goddamn phone, Creflo. What are you doing out here? Call me Mr. Dollar.
Like, nigga, your last name Dollar. You want to get out here and say that?
What the fuck are you doing out here, Creflo?
Yeah, he fucked the bag up for the whole team with that one. But I mean, that shit, the time we in, man, like there's a lot of black people still in church, but there's a lot of them leaving. And they just tired of the shit. Like, it's not working, bro.
Who the fuck want to kiss the Jews' ass to get to heaven?
But it ain't working. Niggas is tired of throwing their money away, bro. Like,
when you the real Hebrew and shit.
It's funny how entrepreneurship with blacks is rising.
No, I think we the Hebrew. No, we the Hebrew.
You seen the pastor that was teaching that?
We did all this. Nah, we did it.
You seen the pastor that was teaching that? He dead. He was teaching his congregation like, we the Hebrews, and he going through breaking. Oh, damn it, we're he dead. The nigga just died like a couple years ago mysteriously.
Man,
I think his name was Stephen Kirby or Irby, something like that.
Oh shit.
He dead, bro.
Darby.
Stephen Darby is
Stephen
dead.
Darby, nigga.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's dead, man. He's dead.
What the fuck?
Go back to what
Stephen Darby died a while ago, though, right?
Yeah, but mysteriously, my nigga.
Yeah, he died a minute ago.
What was you saying a minute ago, though?
With the pastor? The one in Texas?
Hey, Stephen Darby was kicking that shit, nigga. It's a real shit, nigga.
What you mean? About the what? The tithe? Black people leaving church?
That's what it was.
I mean, what point you was trying to...
You was just saying something.
Black entrepreneurship is rising.
Yeah, that was
and
2017.
the church tithe is diminishing.
Yeah, he died in 2017.
Entrepreneurship. They teach pay the tithe.
Are we just talking about that today? Because now it's like, dang, I got some extra money.
You ain't had to put it in that goddamn bucket. Now you can make a move or two. Yeah, you can make a move.
Just like that book you gave me, man.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Richest Man in Babylon.
The Richest Man in Babylon. That 10%, like
the 10%. That's what you're supposed to put in the bucket. That 10% is supposed to be for wealth for your family. They break it down in the book, and it's from Babylonian times, biblical times, and they break down in the book. You get your dollar from your income. Out of that 100%, every dollar got an account. So,
damn, you spend some shit, nigga.
The 90%.
Oh man,
you pay your bills and all that shit. That 10%, the church say give it to them. That 10% is your wealth. You're supposed to put that to buy access to learn a trade.
Put towards
church say 10% go in the bucket. Offering is extra, so you might do 20%.
Yeah, we'll give you a W-2 and you can write it off on your taxes.
Bro, that's that 10%. You could have been out here starting a farm, starting an LLC. That's what the book teaches, and that's old biblical terms. But same book that I said Noah got the wood from Florida. I mean from I didn't mean to say Florida, I'm sorry. The wood from the gopher shit. It's the same book that teach that principle, but they use that book to flip it and say, nah, 10% minimum. I need 10% minimum is the tithe. So if you made $1,000, I need $1,000 a week. I need $100 a week from you. That's $400 a month.
At least,
because I need my shit paid.
Why you think this lack pay for itself?
But church is 501c3. They could get
grants.
They get grants, bro. Why I need to give you this shit?
They don't pay taxes, dude. Like, come on, man. Like,
Indians
and they
get
other benefits too.
They do.
You know, but they gotta do what they gotta do to get them benefits and all that shit. And that includes telling niggas that they Gentiles and, you know, they gotta kiss the Jews' ass to get to heaven and shit.
Y'all ever seen a broke Jew?
No, man, I ain't a part of the thing.
Yeah, the one they put on TV.
I ain't never seen a broke
Nigga, what?
Jew.
See, they be saying
But they be
crazy
getting
shit.
food stamps and all that.
The one they put on TV.
I ain't never seen a broke Jew.
Please send the Jews.
That ain't even part of their thing,
For
nigga.
St.
They don't
Jude's.
play that.
Please send the Jews
That's
some
a
money.
fact. They do that.
You might be a motherfucking weasel, nigga, but you ain't broke.
The niggas get, they still get the Hitler
She's 73
concentration
years old.
camp money.
Yeah, my son's a
she's-
weasel, but he's got good money.
She hasn't ate in 3 years.
You a fuck about that?
83 years.
She
She
hasn't
dead
ate-
as fuck.
She hadn't ate in 3 years. Please send the. But anyway, let me this question. This might be my last question. I don't know. If that's
Yeah, man, we almost 2 hours, nigga.
Does genealogy?
We need some snippets tonight, nigga.
Can genealogy break down laws too?
That's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like learning to swim, nigga. Like once you get it, then they can't.
Well,
bullshit
laws,
you no more.
especially tied to a land, because let's say your family has a land patent, your ancestor had something called a land patent. I don't think we might not have the time to go into all that, but a land patent means superior landlord, like lord of the land. They don't pay no taxes. If anything, people owe them taxes. So, if your family had a land patent and it's let's say T-Mobile got cell phone towers on that shit.
You got to pay me
T-Mobile owe a bag.
every
Yeah,
time
no doubt,
they
shouldn't have said that
goddamn transmit a fucking frequency,
Or a
nigga.
railroad,
Fuck
let's
you
say
pay me.
like, or highway. when
Highway,
they do your
maybe?
shit.
Like
highways,
85, 77, shit like that.
I gotta remember, these highways were trading paths for Negroes. back
Yeah,
then, for
like
Indians.
everything was hijacked, nigga. Like that's the beauty of the shit.
You
Like
fucking with somebody else's money to put a highway
even
through it.
before you take the power back, just understanding the history give you
The
peace of
ability
mind.
how to take the power
Yeah,
back.
like once you know you living
Exactly.
on truth and it ain't what the fuck they saying and they telling you that story for a particular reason, you have that fucking like wow, that weight off your shoulders, nigga. Like now it's all about the work to get it back.
That's a theory I've been saying for a while. I don't have no proof to it. That's why I say
You know what
it's
I'm
a
saying?
theory. But that U.S. dollar, that U.S. debt, that number that's continually counting.
Oh, yeah, it's counting.
When y'all do this genealogy and y'all start saying y'all family owns some shit, my theory is that dollar is money they owe to the people who own this land, because the number don't stop. It's counting right now. That
Right.
shit is like stupid in the trillions.
Oh, a lot of trillions.
They say China own it.
What's the one after the trillion? Quadrillions?
Ah, shit, that shit don't stop counting, bro. And they
Well,
say,
trillions is after
China, they owe that to
trillions.
China, but then China owe me
But
money.
everything is a lie, like you know.
It's a lie.
So
Because if you want to say China, what we talking? Cathay? Or we not on that tonight? Because
so
Cathay would be Carolina's on that map.
wow.
And
So
Cathay
what
means
about the
China,
Kabunga? What about
but
that?
I don't know. Yeah.
Kabunga, the Kabunga thing.
Oh, Kapangu, that's Japan.
Kabunga.
Right off the coast
So-
of Florida.
So it's like
So who owe who again?
that's what I'm saying. Like
So it sounds like nations owe a bag, not the United States, because United
So,
States
okay.
is owned by nations, right?
all right. So the law is
By who?
hold
The
up.
United States is a corporation owned by
United
nations.
States.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know the
Owned
law.
by nations.
The law
So
is
the reparation pay would be coming from the nations because they just run
all
an entity which is called the
all
United
incorporated
States.
with it.
There you go.
Yeah. Whoever's
So if
incorporated
they say
with it.
USA owns China, that's baby talk.
Right.
China, the United States is just a business. It's an
That-
LLC.
yeah, right.
It's a
So-
corporation.
It's gonna be like, yeah, I know China, we owe you something, but these niggas, man, they figured it out, goddammit. You gonna have to wait a good 7, 8, 20, 50 years.
So when I say it's nation
we gotta
against
pay these
nations,
niggas for the next 50 years and let them take over this
look
thing
what
that we
happened to the
stole.
Haitians.
Yeah.
What happened? They won their freedom, and somebody finagled something where the Haitians got to pay France back.
For a long, long time.
Yeah,
just now
they
paid
still
it off.
paying this. Yeah,
Oh, they still paying?
I think
just paid
they
it off.
Nah, I think they
just
still
paid it
paying.
off.
That's why they so
Yeah,
fucked up.
but it's
From
gonna be
their own
something else
resources,
implemented.
It go to
yeah.
them.
Yeah, it's nuts, nigga.
It's that type of shit.
We expelled them niggas in. Now we gotta pay them.
Pay them for them
billions,
encroaching
nigga?
our shit.
How that work? But
There you
so
go.
yeah, so how you hijack? How you overthrow that? How you overthrow that
Genealogy
kind of
first
shit?
step.
Nigga?
You gotta do it, and you can't run before you can walk. Bro.
Like imagine being a Haitian the day after that, nigga. Like, what the fuck?
mad as shit, nigga. I just killed this, that,
All
third.
my people dead and shit, and we finally won, nigga. And that what? Like that Fargo shit with Chris Rock, nigga. Like
I would be.
I done
so
lost all
tight,
my
bro.
people, nigga, and we won the war, nigga. And you come to tell me like, I know we said we was only gonna take 20%, but yeah, we actually gonna take 85% of what you own, and that's just what it's gonna be. Because if you fight it, we just gonna
Haiti
keep
has
coming.
one of the most priciest rocks. What is that? We talked about
Iridium?
that months ago. What's that
What was
shit?
that?
It's like the Black Panther vibranium type
vibranium.
shit. What was
Yeah.
that shit called, bro? We talked about this shit last year. Haiti got that rock. They ain't benefiting from it though. That's like one of the most valuable commodities in the world. Like
That's what
it's kind of like vibranium. You know, the Black Panther shit is on that level. Like, and they not benefiting from it, and that come from their soil. And they won the fucking war.
Why they not building?
They paying retribution to France, and France encroached they shit. See how that work?
No, I don't.
How the fuck that happened? That's what he's saying. They got
How you
France up out
overthrow
of
that?
there. They got the first. They had the mimic of overthrowing these foreigners.
Yeah.
Right.
They are the blueprint.
Think about the slave shit. The Haitians got their freedom first. They had the blueprint, like bro said, and they gotta pay. That's why Haiti is so poor.
How that work?
That's
just
what
what
he
it
said. How that fuck that happened, bro?
This is what the fuck
You
it
got
is.
them
What
out.
you mean? That's just what it is. Come on.
Nigga, read a book, nigga.
No, it's not what it.
Yeah,
I mean, it shouldn't have happened like that. And we trying to figure out how. When we got them out,
Napoleon
when
went
they
back
got
to
them
France
out,
and was
they
like,
shit.
hey, I don't know what the fuck you want from me. Do what y'all gotta do. And they was like, hey.
Then you
y'all
gotta
whooped
look
our
at
ass,
the
but-
Louisiana Purchase, all that shit.
Yeah, all that
happened.
shit playing to it. Yeah.
Then you gotta look at the Egypt shit, but that ain't for this one. But yeah, all that shit
That
time.
shit's deep, nigga.
All
I
that
mean,
shit time.
Is their land fertile? Is it?
Hell
it's Haiti, nigga.
Okay.
That
so
rock that come, bro. That
I
rock
don't
is
get
like
it. I don't get
But
it.
you don't
they
get
not. The Haitians are not benefiting from
Why they
it.
got
You gotta
paid?
understand what's
They are
happening.
paying for what the Haitians did to the French
So we look
in
back
Haiti.
at we
Right.
look. Listen,
And
so
they've
your
been
ass about
they've
our
been
land.
they've
So
been
we-
paying for the past how many
How?
years?
hey man, goddamn,
That's
you
how
asking
that
how?
shit-
Read
That's
a fucking
like
book, nigga.
that's
It's
like-
what it is. So
Hold on, that's like-
the thing about it is, you look back before that. So they claim
They
that
had the
nothing was
blueprint,
here.
bro.
That's like
But-
me cutting your hair and I gotta pay you.
Oh man, they
So
don't nobody
look,
care
look.
about all that. We already know what the history is. So it's like
I just said they sailed up to Savannah to give the blueprint. They helping the Confederates.
it go back to the Tartaria thing, right?
Denmark
So-
Vesey, all of that. Think about how, bro. That's the same shit. Denmark Vesey got the blueprint when
From-
they try to get the boats back
yeah.
with all the bricks of gold
In real
the
time,
400
nigga,
billion in
while it
bricks
was
gold. They
happening,
killed
nigga.
them like the day before this shit happened.
Shit popped off, yeah.
Them
Like,
niggas
how he
had
get
the
the word?
blueprint and like,
Yeah, like the ether and all that
yeah,
shit.
that shit.
You know, so it's like
shit is, yeah.
it's like so before that, all this shit.
Sound like a fucking trader somewhere.
There we go. Now that go back to the
What
other.
they call it? Not a trader.
That's
What they call?
that's treason.
Treason. A
Yeah,
treason,
you
a treason person.
fucked your whole.
Somebody-
whole
One and the
land.
same, nigga.
It's
Trader,
treason,
that's a traitor.
bro. You die for that or get exiled.
You got them telling the other side something we
So,
doing,
but
nigga.
the-
You gotta
but
die.
Didn't the Haiti president just get killed last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was he trying to do?
Trying to get that bullshit up out of here. We ain't doing that.
Come on, man. Get more propaganda, man. Y'all gotta see.
So
man.
whoever took over his position,
That go back
It's
to the
back to
CEOs.
happy-go-lucky.
look at his
again.
motherfucking ass.
All them CEOs that resigned and shit.
That's what you was talking
Yeah.
about. You need to go back and look at his ass. Like you taking his position. Then nigga, why we still
You
in
must
this
be in the
position?
game, nigga.
Let's look at Kamala Harris, right? Black women love Kamala Harris. Y'all know she not from here, right?
Yeah, nigga. I know that.
She went to
got
fucking
into
Georgia
it
to eat
before.
at one of them popular restaurants, eating the collard greens and shit. You from
It's a
India?
fucking farce, nigga.
You don't even eat that. It's propaganda,
You
man.
don't even claim niggas and niggas.
Nah,
still,
don't
like-
even. You not even a nigga for real. You
But
not
that's
even
what it.
from
That's
here.
what I'm saying. Like niggas
Obama
trying to
not
feel
even from here, bro.
Barry.
Barry, good old Barry.
Barry Sotolo.
He not even
Sotolo.
from here, bro. That nigga is from Africa. Somebody he from Chicago. You grew up in
But
Chicago.
he don't
man.
say it like that. We just allow
Stop
it to
it,
happen
bro.
like that.
Nah, they voted for that nigga, bro.
No, I'm saying like
I did the first time.
A lot of black people
I
did.
did the first time.
even to know the truth about him, I ain't even mad at that nigga because Like,
no, it's not matter.
I see
I'm
through
saying
it.
the propaganda. They always put a face up for us, and the nigga don't even be for us.
No, I can't say I ain't mad at that nigga because he an agent.
No, I'm not mad at
you know,
him. I'm just saying the propaganda they
he
use.
a fucking agent. You know, he is what he is.
Get somebody
Cool
from
ass nigga.
America to be a black president. Let's do that.
When
Aside
that happened,
from
this shit is
the
real.
ones from back in the days, like
who?
before George Washington, like John
Right,
Hanson
right.
and shit like that. But
Yeah, it's like it's a fucking
Abraham
joke.
Lincoln was a black president. Oh my bad, that's
You
the
said
shits
before
and
George
giggles.
Washington.
Yeah, like John Hanson, Abraham Lincoln, he was a black president. That's for shits and giggles.
Before George Washington was the first.
No,
He
he
wasn't.
wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? He was the first that we were talking.
No,
He wasn't
that's
the first
what What they
president,
say
though.
now. It's just like the other shit.
So why we started?
They just started. They like
We go again.
niggas just went to work one Monday, and was like, "Hey, George Washington was the first president." And it's like,
were
"Fuck you mean?"
Negroes.
It's like from now on, George Washington was the first president. It's like, all right, I guess we'll print that if that's what you want, but that's nuts. And then from that point on, just like 9/11, nigga,
We was the electors
this
first.
shit is
man.
gonna be recorded in history. Like that's what happened.
Do the one with about Jesus.
What?
Oh yeah, you text that too.
What the fuck that mean?
You text that today.
To be white, painted.
Oh yeah, nigga, that's real.
Do that one.
Why Shem? It don't matter. He died for everybody's sins. That should just be happy.
Yeah,
Why you gotta
but
whitewash
he
that
was-
nigga?
But that's
You asked that earlier.
That's my point. Like, what's the psychology involved with that? Once you
Whitewash Christopher Columbus?
once the trick, once you get the trick over on motherfuckers, like who the fuck wanna deal with that shit? Who the fuck wanna
Why keep?
like faking your own death and
Why
shit?
keep the black man in the picture?
Then it's
of George
like-
Washington?
Now nobody can
Who
ever
was
see
that
me
black
again.
man? He ain't look poor.
I'm just saying.
He ain't look like no slave.
I'm just saying,
Some
like
niggas
certain
gotta
things,
stay in the house.
certain
Nah.
things they took away, certain things they let slide, they let through. You see what I'm saying? Certain
It's like
information was burnt and destroyed, and certain information was allowed to.
Some shit was burnt, but a lot of shit wasn't burnt, bro. We just they tell us that so we
It's
won't
a
think
story.
to research it.
Yeah, like the shit could be right there and it'd be like, yo, what
In my
the fuck
Zooms,
is that?
y'all would think that shit burnt. They tell us that so
Like
we
them-
won't research. Oh,
That
it's
shit in
burnt.
England, nigga.
Oh, it's burnt. I ain't got nigga. That shit ain't burnt. That
Them
shit
old
is in the
castles and
Vatican.
shit,
That
nigga.
shit is in. Huh?
Why would you put it out though?
It ain't out. It's
That's
just
supposed to
we
be weird to
finding
me.
it
Why
now.
not just blow it all up? Why keep some of it?
But you know what? I look at it like this, though, too.
It's like,
you know,
nigga, why would you
read
leave
shit,
evidence, nigga?
When you read stuff and you come up against a word.
Oh no, we
that's
just
like,
built that back in
what is this?
1875. With
You might have to
fucking
look into
Bible.
that. If you look into that one word, it take you somewhere totally
That's my
different.
point.
Like
That's why-
like
yeah.
like
Is
the
that
word
just
parish.
one big slab of marble?
A
That's
parish.
100
Oh, like the
feet
last
long?
name Paris. Yeah. P-A-R-I-S.
No,
Yeah, we
like
just grabbed it up,
parish.
up the scrapyard.
Area.
Yeah.
Call it a parish.
That's also people's
Oh, that's
last name
name.
too.
Yeah.
Surname that be tied
It's a
to
surname.
those parishes.
You look that shit up, like it take
Yeah.
you somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's why genealogy is important. Because your name might be tied to a meaning of a
You
word.
gotta know. You gotta understand what you're doing too. You gotta understand.
Gotta have a dictionary on hand.
Right. You gotta understand
Got
when
you.
to research certain words, especially the words you just don't know what they mean and the way they used.
Right.
Because a person probably would think that was a last name, but the way it reads is they were from the parishes.
Now then why would that be their last name?
Right. No, I'm saying
That go together.
We know it as a last name. You see what I'm saying?
But the last
I know a
name would
parish.
mean that family controlled the parish. That's why that's their last name.
Right. But if you're not thinking like that, to
Right.
look into it and be like, it read like they were living or staying in a parish, to say, what is a parish then?
Yeah.
If it's not just the last name,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're not thinking like that, you wouldn't know.
Like a last name
Look it
like
up to take you somewhere else.
like
Well, you need to think like that.
well, you have to now. You got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we
That's the answer to that.
gotta be smarter than this shit. We can't just be.
You can't look at it like if you don't think about it. We got.
Oh, I know what that word meant from when my teacher told me in 5th grade. Like, nah, look that shit up.
Look that up again.
Look that
bro.
shit up to make sure.
real.
It's a lot of words that
real.
don't mean
That
what the
they
fuck
didn't-
we think it
right,
mean,
right.
man. That shit crazy, man.
Just think, like, you got sale and sale. You got a sale, like a sale at the store. Then you got a sale when you're dealing with water, like with a sailboat.
And like if
Just
you,
that shit alone should tell you, maybe I need to research a word.
nigga, like etymology, like when you looking up shit and you get accustomed to using etymology, nigga, that shit is like
Shit changes the game, bro.
that shit at first is
That
exhausting.
that dictionary alone
Then it
changes
become
the
welcoming.
game.
Like you look for that shit. Like Okay, let me see. What
I got
the
the
fuck he
app on
meant
my
by
phone.
that
I do not play. If I see it, let me
yeah,
pull
but you
that
got to
shit
get
real
to
quick.
that point. Because at first it's a pain in the ass. Like, hold the fuck up, man. I'm looking for this one sentence with this word in it. And here you got all these multiple meanings. But the more you go through it, the more you get comfortable with the transitions and meanings and shit.
That's the beauty of it.
You know, then it's more like, I know what the fuck he intended to mean, but let me see where it could have went. And the reason he used this word is because he knew it could have meant. And then the shit is malleable and all that shit. And the other definitions, you know, attached to it. Then you start seeing how throughout history, how they used it and how they manipulated the shit. And it's like a tool, nigga. Like, these words.
Words are powerful.
How they change rules
You can cast
throughout
spells
time.
with words, so y'all know what they mean.
But they keep up with the changes.
Yeah.
It's just like the lies, nigga. They keep up with the lies and the changes. And take pride in keeping up with the lies and the changes. And they just don't figure niggas is gonna be able to keep up. So when niggas start catching on and able to keep up, they can't win. It's like, nigga, it's like running a race, nigga. Like a motherfucker who just been lying and winning the race, and you figuring out the formula and shit, and you looking at this nigga like, nigga, I got lungs, nigga, and he looking like, oh man, like he done caught me. Like he can't outlast you. He'll never be, because it's the truth. You know, you just got to get more people on the truth, and the more people that's on the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like
it'll grow more. It'll grow. Continue to grow.
Yeah, because like
and be that much more powerful.
Yeah, because you got, let's say you got two different individuals doing their genealogy, and they both come across, they from here and they got land. Y'all could figure out how to make shit work. Now let's say you did all that, got your land back, or y'all maintaining your land. Yo, I grow these. You grow this. Let's see how we can help each other. You
see how that shit go get right back to the farming and shit. That gotta be.
You got tomatoes, I got tobacco. What can we do to get this back together?
It builds a relationship.
Exactly.
Cause I thought I had you. A couple days ago.
What you mean?
With that doom thing, book. I thought I had you.
Nah, bro. I came across it and somebody
you
else's genealogy.
That was the first thing I hit him up early in the morning.
Yeah, early too.
I thought I had you.
I seen it in somebody's genealogy, bro.
Why is the common denominator always farming?
I mean, farming is simply cultivating your land. It don't have to be growing something. You can have.
But it also cultivates you as a person.
Yeah. You might not be farming the vegetables. You could be having gold come out your shit.
It's something good to look at and say, I can feed somebody.
It's cultivate. Farming and cultivate is the same word.
That's the common denominator, man. Because it's
cultivate,
like,
bro.
Right.
What they trying
to
get you away from.
Overalls on, but you might could control that commodity.
The name of my first mixtape
is what?
Project
Readjustment.
Cultivation. Well, it was Project Readjustment, but I hashtag Project Cultivation.
Cultivating, bro.
Years ago. That's my hashtag. I started that.
Don't associate cultivate with getting dirty, because farming is like you associate with getting dirty. If that's what it takes.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But cultivate, the family got a beach back. Ain't no farm shit over there.
That's
but
my
they gotta
point.
cultivate what's there.
They get it done. Yeah.
It's cultivating all them hotels and shit that's on there.
We look at
cultivate the mind, bro. We cultivate.
At this point, we look at that kind of shit as passe.
You ain't gotta do shit. It's like y'all could keep y'all shit there, but
weeds
y'all gotta pay me.
Weeds out there that can be eaten.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying?
Facts.
They got us conditioned to look at that shit as passe. As some
I
shit
think that's
like
changing though, bro. Farming is being not frowned upon like it was 10 years ago. Niggas is trying to learn how to do shit living in apartments. Oh, I could grow tomatoes. I'm speaking just from, I have small children and they be on shit like TikTok.
See, that's the point. That's the point. It's
like
a movement
you could
to
do this in
return
an
to
apartment.
it.
Like,
it's a movement to return to it.
I'm
the whole point. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
A movement like that, then fine.
Absolutely, but you know, the point is they push us away from it to where you have to like. They trying to keep me away from fresh fruits and shit, so I'm gonna grow it myself.
You don't see it?
Yeah, what I'm looking at.
The what?
Lime green.
The what? What we
outside or in here?
In here, the lime green machine.
Lime green machine.
You don't see that right there behind the U-Haul box?
Oh, it's a machine over there. I can't see it. I guess the box is blocking.
It's right behind the bike. You might
might have to stand
The
up.
bike right here?
The bike, yeah.
Oh, the machine. Damn, bro. I didn't even see that. Okay.
Yeah, the tiller. Yeah, you got me the tiller, boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Where you going? You going grocery? Where you gonna go there?
Right back there.
Oh yeah.
I had them greens.
I like the collard greens too.
Oh,
Shit, I want some too, nigga.
I gotta get out there and till it up.
Hell yeah.
Put fertilizer, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
we
we
got
gotta
to,
return
though.
to that shit, nigga.
Got to, man, because they fucking up the food in so many ways. We gotta learn how to
It's
feed
not even the
ourselves
point
too.
of just doing it for something to do.
Nah, you gotta
It's
survive.
like, nigga, we gotta survive, nigga.
'Cause
Grocery
then you're not
shopping,
going
nigga,
to
that
the
shit is
grocery
nuts,
store.
nigga.
Hell yeah.
Like, that shit is stupid.
It's
nigga.
funny,
Say
like,
what?
people be
Survive off
complaining about the
Grocery
price of
store,
oxtail
nigga.
and shit.
Oh,
Like,
man.
oxtail is like $30 and shit.
Yeah, nigga.
Yeah, y'all gotta get it from there. Like, shit, maybe somebody ran away, might got some cows or something you ain't even know about. A whole nigga got some cows somewhere. Got a
That's what we gotta
network,
get
bro.
back
That's
to.
where the networking come in too. You never know what somebody brings to the table. They could have been on some shit like that. You
Some
ain't
kosher
even know.
shit, some
Kosher.
halal, like taking care of real good meat. Like,
Things that say kosher, or do you think they kosher?
I mean,
In
as
these-
far as
in
trust
these
go, I trust that shit more
Walmart.
than the other shit.
I'll take my chance with halal meats quicker than kosher.
Yeah, like
Because I don't
What
be,
that is? What's that?
you know, like a lot of like the Muslims, that animals is clean, natural. Like you order it, they kill it, cut it up, you got it. Halal, ain't no pesticides, nothing. Yeah.
so.
But kosher, that's a brand now, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's certain guidelines.
I mean,
but,
certain
like,
companies
more so
that
than
I've
you
worked
know.
for that's in the food industry.
like
Some of them
I
products
know one very well.
got a Jewish symbol
Yup,
on the
sure
back
do.
of this shit.
I seen it.
But that shit'll fuck your kidneys up. But they got kosher though. I ain't gonna say the names because
Say
that's
fucking
jeopardizing like a motherfucker. But
Yeah,
I'm
fucking
saying
kidneys
kosher deals with Jewish, right?
Okay.
Certain places I have been, and
Corporations and such.
corporations got their products coming and it has a Jewish symbol on the back like Star David and
Yeah.
shit. And these
Obviously.
products fuck your body up. But Jewish people also sell kosher products. And these products is what fuck up your sperm count or fuck up your kidneys. It has a Jewish
So it ain't
label
kosher?
on the back.
So it ain't
No, kosher's a brand. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, like
Like
kosher
there's more than there's multiple
It's not
kosher.
it said kosher as that shit is good and healthy, but I mean,
All
I
kosher
see,
is
I
is
see
like
them
the
same people
USDA.
selling shit that'll kill you, and they put it in food.
Motherfuckers
So
who got
And it
certain,
has a
when
Jewish
it's got
label on the
zero
back.
with the U on it.
yeah. It's
Jewish.
just like the USDA is
That's not
supposed
kosher.
to be.
That's the shit. That's the shit.
That's kosher.
No,
That's
they
technically
saying it's kosher, but I'm saying these products.
But that's one
hurting your
organization
body
within the whole whatever system.
because they'll have their label on the
Yeah,
back.
it'll be like the K. You got the K.
So
with
they
the
don't even
circle
eat their
and
own
shit.
shit.
I'm saying they selling it. I've seen it in there
They do business.
at places that I
That don't
have
mean
been.
they eat it though. Just like the Chinese.
That don't mean they eat it,
Chinese,
but
you know.
the
Chinese
the
restaurants
citizens
they
are
don't be
eating
eating
it.
that shit.
And it's USDA approved, and it has a Jewish label on the back. And sometimes you might see
So I gotta stop.
the guy with the yarmulke walking through, looking at inventory product. Like, okay, that's his brand.
So don't go with the U in it. Don't go with it.
Well, like I said, man, you gotta trust, quote unquote, certain shit when you buy it in the store. So it's certain things, symbols, or standards that motherfuckers like. You know, some people eat non-GMO. They only fuck with non-GMO. They have to trust that the label is what it is.
Because even in non-GMO or like organic, people like the
Yeah.
organic shit, but it's organic how? Like,
Right.
wasn't not
With,
made in the
you know,
lab?
as
And some organic shit be made in labs.
as pervasive as
Some of it you have to know, like the thing, bro.
as pervasive as Roundup is.
Yeah.
How you know your shit
Organic
ain't got
became a
Roundup in
brand,
it?
so you have to do the extra research to make sure that shit is really
It
organic.
became a brand.
Yeah, just like kosher.
Y'all fucking blowing my mind.
Now, I'm not saying everything that say organic isn't, but some shit, because organic is a wave.
It's all organization.
Yeah, you got to do the extra research on the
Boards
shit to make sure it's good.
So is it organic, Stan?
Just don't say
Yeah, it's organic.
Just don't say organic. But
Just stamp it.
if it said organic,
I still need to look up the name.
Yeah. And see where they get their
It
shit
just don't
from.
say organic.
Oh, well, you good. What is that? Blueberries?
Well, you know for sure it's GMO.
Not really. Not really. How?
Is
You
it
probably
where is it farmed at? Is it America at least?
Singapore.
I ain't gonna say it loud. You can.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Harvested in the
Oh yeah,
outback
it's
of Australia.
here. Oh yeah, it's yo, look at this shit. See, I
Picked
said
in hell.
product of such and such,
Shut up, man.
but out of Florida.
But
But look where's the product of?
China, probably.
No,
Canada. Yeah.
But it's but out of Florida.
So
They
that
ain't
means
even near
just
each other.
drove to fucking Florida, dropped some shit off, and drove to
That's a
wherever
lot
the
of
fuck
damn
you
wasted gas.
So the shit from Canada.
Unless it could have shit to preserve it. You know, natural shit don't last
That
long.
shit
You
don't
gotta
mean
eat that
none of
shit
them
quick.
labels mean nothing.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. It's like that.
You have to
it's
preserve
like
it in that route.
podcast when something is flew from another place. By the
Yeah.
time it get here, that shit ain't.
If it's really natural, it should be old and discarded. So you
Right.
gotta preserve it.
Right. That kind of
That's why I said where's it sourced at.
So the date, you know, all
Florida
that
is
shit don't
close,
mean
but
shit,
Yeah,
man.
Florida's
that's the other part that is not close.
They probably froze
So what
that
the
shit
hell that
and
about?
thawed it out.
That's
froze
the
it
point
again.
he's saying. You gotta do the further research. It can't be how it's sourced from two different places. Either it got sourced from up there and then sold out
brought
of
to
Florida,
Florida.
or it came out of Florida and sourced from up there.
I don't even know why they
Either
put
way,
Florida in
it
there.
came
It
back to
don't say, it
Gastonia.
say product.
They might as well
it
say
product
Florida and Charlotte and
DU
Gastonia.
Canada.
And
They might as well just put
but
Canada on
and
it.
Florida not
Plant
near
City,
each other,
bro.
bro.
Plant City.
That's what, 17-hour difference? Probably 20?
So they probably picked it in China, then took it to Canada, then they took it to Detroit.
That's what I'm saying.
Then
When
they
you
stopped in
sourcing,
Florida. Then it came
look
to
at
Charlotte.
the distance
then
it
they
had
took it
to
to
travel.
Gastonia. And
It
in the process,
shouldn't be
they
too
froze
far,
it 3
bro. It
times.
shouldn't be far.
The shit thawed all the way out because the truck
don't
was
last
hot.
long, bro. You gotta freeze it to make it last long,
They kept having to
or
spray
dry
it
it.
because it kept smelling.
If it's not neither one of those, if you didn't get it frozen,
Then
they
they
had
had
to
to
put something in it to preserve it.
They had to
That's a long
stop to pick the
travel
worms
between
out
Canada
a
and
few
Florida.
times.
Do it, man. I got like 6 goddamn things of them shit.
Eat the motherfuckers, fuck you mean?
And juice them shits down. You bought them.
Eat them, nigga.
You know what I'm saying?
They said what to do with them.
Any last?
They had to
thoughts,
pick the
man?
worms
Any
out in
last
Tallahassee.
thoughts? You talking about pick the worms, man.
They had to discard the worms in fucking Sarasota, Florida.
That's why I like how you told me about the guys at the flea markets, the Spanish guys be having the oranges and shit.
Yeah.
That shit is sourced not far away. It's the
Real.
The consumption time.
Close to real.
You went up there and checked them out.
That the one that where I came to with when you had your art gallery
Yeah.
set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen them out there. Me and my wife did seen them out there. And I was telling, I was like, yeah, that's the spot.
Yeah, I need to get a
Like,
watermelon.
Think about it, man. Fruit, natural shit don't last long when it's sitting out. So if
Sugar.
it's traveling by truck, either the truck got a cold temperature to keep that shit frozen, but
that
then
shit
it's
just
not.
hot.
You didn't pick it up off the shelf frozen, so that means it would have been in the frozen section. So
They had to thaw
temperature's
it
not
out.
cold enough. So then you gotta think, well, what do they do to preserve it
Spray it with
to
something.
keep it to look like that? Because that shit, man, should be old and have flies on it within the 2 days. Once it's ripe and shit, it's exposed to the elements. Yeah, you gotta eat. Like when you leave fruit out, just sitting on your cabinet, you gotta eat it quick.
Fruit
bro. You
flies
got
and
fruit
shit.
flies, bro. So when we got shit coming from Costa Rica, as an
Some
example,
Florida.
because some shit we get from
Back to
Costa
Cuba.
Rica to
Charlotte.
Charlotte, you gotta. That's either boat or plane in the elements. So it's got to be either low temp or it's got to be dried, and it's not dried. So what is preserving? The same with the meat. So people buy meat. A lot of times people don't know they spraying certain gases on it
Bleach
to
and
keep
shit.
that meat to keep the meat red. That meat been old. That's so when people get confused, they see sell by such and such. They're like, oh, it's good. I still got a week on this meat.
Hell yeah, nigga.
That meat can't sit out 2 days. You gotta throw that shit away. So how is it
Shit,
preserved for 3 weeks before you buy it? I mean, before you, where it say sell by such and such, that shit been on the shelf 3
And
weeks.
go
but
dip
it
your
look fresh.
steak in the bleach bucket.
Yeah, they be really
Starting to
bleaching
turn.
shit or spraying carbon, like carbon.
Ammonia and shit.
Yeah, they spray. Man, this shit is crazy. That's
Dip
why
it
the
in
farming is
ammonia
important,
bucket.
or raising your own animals.
So that it's good. It's good about
Get the meat glue.
I'll go frozen before I go kosher, bro. at least the temperature so cold it kept it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when my wife she buy fresh vegetables, she chopping them bitches and freezing them, and we got them for months. If it's not being canned, and we talked about the canning shit, but canning or frozen, bro. That's why people should have deep freezers or learn how to can. That shit got longevity because of the air is sealed tight. Yeah, it's the last. If it's sitting out in oxygen there, that shit gonna get old. Supposed to. Put a McDonald's fry out and see how long that shit'll last a week. Probably longer, bro. That shit look the same. You put a banana out, that shit look already done changed 3 colors in 2 days.
Some banana.
Some banana, yeah.
Some bananas. I noticed that shit, man. I started noticing it like, why is this shit not going bad?
Yeah, this shit is supposed to go bad.
These motherfuckers still look good 5-6 days later. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah, eat that shit, then 5-6 days.
Yeah, it's supposed to have something going on.
That shit's supposed to be going.
That's why people. The good thing is, at least you checking the label and shit. People be like, oh, I just got some blueberries, and they ain't know that shit was shipped from China, and it'll say that shit. How the fuck that shit last that long? China ain't supposed to be that close for this shit to last that long and still look normal. If they spray pesticides on local shit, imagine shit coming from over there, bro. And we gotta clean the shit off the local shit we get. We still gotta clean that shit off. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole journey with this shit, man. This shit get time consuming and annoying, but you gotta do it, bro. We trying to live, man. Trying to live. That's really it. Because we learning this shit. If we don't live, who gonna teach the young ones already that's out here? So we gotta make sure we taking care of ourselves so we can teach them.
So how did I gotta ask this last question. This is the last one. How do you stay motivated?
Knowing that my children hold the nations in their womb. Like, I got daughters. When I learned that, science say the female is already born with 3 generations inside their eggs already. They already have that. So I'm like, damn, just one of my daughters got 3 generations inside her egg already. All right, so that alone, that's those nations right there. So I gotta make sure they know, you know what I'm saying, how important who you are come from, and not to be out here just giving yourself away to niggas, you know what I'm saying, because you got 3 generations in you, and I got 2 daughters, 2 natural daughters. That's 6 generations right there, minimum. The female is born with grandchildren and great-grandchildren eggs already inside of them. That changed the game for me. I got sons too. I love my sons, but when I learned that about the daughters, I said, oh shit. It makes the protect that woman even go that further for me. That's how they go. Cause my sons are grown. They college and shit. My daughters are young, so a lot of this shit that I learned, I'm telling them, because they see me getting this information, and Daddy, why this, why that? I gotta make sure they know they got generations inside of them already. 3.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, this is a good one, man.
Wow, that was